Saves you time on this Tuesday morning. Clear skies right now in the Kansas City area. It's 37 degrees, rain in Columbia right now. That rain expected to continue through the rest of the morning into the early afternoon. Then we'll start to clear off. It'll be cold after that. 37 right now in Columbia. It's 35 degrees in Jefferson City. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories that we are working on for you at this hour on 93.9 The Eagle. The 14,000 state employees who work in Jefferson City will receive a 7.5% pay increase by February if state lawmakers approve the Missouri governor's supplemental budget request. State employees will already receive a 2% COLA increase effective Saturday. Governor Parson proposing a $91 million supplemental. It would give state employees an additional 5.5% increase in February.
We're trying to find a baseline wage for when somebody comes to the state of Missouri. You kind of know what that is. And then we want to be competitive with that. And then just be able to take care of the people that's been here for 10, 15, 20 years, dedicated Missouri employees.
Governor's proposed budget also includes a $15 per hour minimum base pay. That would be for all state employees who fall below that number. The governor says many state government positions are facing turnover rates between 10 and 100%. The governor says veterans home care attendants and highway employees are among the lowest paid state employees. He says they would benefit from his proposal. Boone County Fire Protection District officials encouraging you to stand along this afternoon's funeral procession route in Columbia for a fallen Assistant Chief Bryant Gladney. He was killed in the line of duty last week. That funeral started at 11 o'clock this morning at the Hearn Center. Assistant Chief Gail Blumenkamp says Gladney served the district for more than 25 years.
He was a bureau director over training for the organization, so EMS training and then ongoing firefighter training for the fire district.
After this morning's funeral service, the procession exits Hearns on the stadium, then turns right onto northbound Providence, then left onto westbound Business Loop 70. It will arrive at the Memorial Funeral Home. A private family service will be held there. Governor Mike Parson was here in Columbia. He attended Monday's visitation at the Hearn Center in Columbia. Speaking of the incident, Missouri State Troopers tell us the investigation into that deadly crash continues. Highway Patrol Lieutenant Eben Brown tells 93.9 The Eagle that it's a detailed process. Boone County Fire Protection District Assistant Chief Blumenkamp says Gladney was working a prior crash along I-70 at the 135-mile marker early Wednesday when a westbound tractor-trailer struck his vehicle at highway speed. Gladney pronounced dead at University Hospital about 30 minutes later. You'll notice U.S. and Missouri flags flying at half-staff at every fire station in Missouri. They'll be honoring Boone County Fire Protection District Assistant Chief Gladney. Centralia native killed in the line of duty last week. The governor issued the order. Starts at sunrise here in about an hour, goes until sunset. Flags at the firefighter memorial in nearby Kingdom City will also be at half-staff today. State troopers say 8 Missourians were killed during the Christmas holiday counting period. It began Thursday evening. It ended late Sunday night. 2 of the deaths happening here in mid-Missouri, including a fatality in Osage County, east of Jefferson City. Troopers say 32-year-old Zachary Sutton of DeSoto crossed the center line on Highway 28, struck a pickup truck head-on. Sutton pronounced dead at the scene. In Bell, Bland, Owensville, Versailles, Eugene, Meda. Those are just a few of the mid-Missouri towns, all rural communities that will benefit from the Rock Island Corridor, according to Missouri's governor and DNR. The DNR accepting ownership of the corridor this month. They plan to develop the stretch into a public recreational trail. Amron's subsidiary donating the property at no cost to the state. Governor Parson says the Rock Island Trail will be the second rail-to-trail state park system in Missouri. He predicts it will complement the existing Katy Trail. The line used to be the former Chicago, Rock Island, and Pacific Railroad corridor. 93.9 The Eagle News Time is 6:07. Turning our attention now to sports, we will start with college hoops. Mizzou men's basketball coach Conzo Martin is tested positive for COVID. He made the announcement Monday on Twitter, says he's feeling well. He thanks the MU training staff for following protocol, keeping the team healthy. That means Cornell Mann, the assistant coach, will be the acting head coach for tomorrow night's game at number 17, Kentucky. Grade 8 Classic tipping off last night. Jeff City High School, several games last night. A lot of action. Blair Oaks beating Tolton 59-55. Helias over Rogers, Arkansas 58-38. It was the Jays over Covington, Tennessee 58-41. And Union, Oklahoma beating Capital City by a score of 67 to 38. Games all day taking place today. The consolation semifinal is at 4, Tilton and Rogers, Arkansas. Elias Blair Oak semifinal game at 5:30. JC and Union, Oklahoma at 7. Consolation semifinals late game tonight, 8:30. Probably closer to 8:45 because you got delays and overtimes, etc. Capital City taking on Covington, Tennessee. 93.9 The Eagle Sports in News Time, 6:08. And our weather is brought to you this hour by Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson's saves you time. Kevin Schneider is on assignment right now, so I'll do the weather. Rain expected in the forecast for today. We're expecting a high of around 57. The overnight low will get down to around 39. We start to clear out. I told Branden earlier about 2 o'clock. That has since changed since the previous forecast. They're now saying we should have that rain out of here by about noon today, which will be good for the funeral procession and folks lining the route. Maybe even 11:30 or so. Certainly all morning. Cloudy tomorrow. We're expecting colder conditions, a high of 45, the overnight low 33. And the outlook for Thursday, the eve of Christmas Eve, partly cloudy with a high of 49 degrees. Pulling up the current temperature, it's 38 degrees in Columbia, 36 degrees in Jefferson City.
Eagle Eye Traffic.
And our traffic check with MidmoHires.com. Local companies are looking for local people. MidmoHires.com. Find a job, post your job opening today. Roads are pretty quiet here in mid-Missouri. A lot of folks have the day off. Some folks are on vacation as well. A lot of schools off, to say the least. So we've got much less traffic on the roads. However, be careful. Give yourself extra time because it has been at times raining very, very hard. As I came into work this morning, I'm sure Branden as well. It was pouring. It's since tapered off a little bit, but be prepared for that. And again, expect a lot of traffic around the Hearn Center today during the funeral procession that begins at 11 o'clock this morning for the late Boone County Assistant Fire Chief, Mr. Gladney. That funeral procession, again, will take place after the funeral. Funeral starting at 11 o'clock this morning. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
Hot Talk 93.9 The Eagle, broadcasting live from the Zimmer Radio Group World Headquarters. This is Wake Up Columbia.
Wake up, Columbia. It's time to start your day. Wake up, Columbia. Hot Talk is on the way. Wake up, Columbia. To hear the latest news. Wake up, Columbia. To Branden, Rathert, and the Eagle Crew.
Here's the host of the show, Branden Rathert.
You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations.
These vaccines are highly, highly effective.
Vaccinated people do not carry the virus, don't get sick.
They're really, really good against variants.
Everyone who takes the vaccine is not just protecting themselves, but reducing their transmission to other people and allowing society to get back to normal.
Get your first shot, and when you're due for your second, get your second shot.
Our key goal is to stop the transmission, to get the immunity levels up so that you get almost no infection going on whatsoever.
When people are vaccinated, they can feel safe that they are not going to get infected.
No. If you're vaccinated, you're not going to be hospitalized. No. You're not going to be in an ICU unit, and you're not going to die. If you are fully vaccinated, you no longer need to wear a mask.
Anyone who is fully vaccinated can participate in indoor and outdoor activities, large or small, without wearing a mask or physical distancing.
But what they can't do anymore is prevent transmission.
We didn't have vaccines that block transmission. We got vaccines that help you with your health, but they only slightly reduce the transmission. We need a new way of doing the vaccine.
The level of virus in the nasopharynx of a person who's vaccinated and infected is the same level as the level of virus in the nasopharynx of an unvaccinated person.
Reports from our international colleagues, including Israel, suggest increased risk of severe disease amongst those vaccinated early.
And if you look at Israel, which has always been a month to a month and a half ahead of us, they are seeing a waning of immunity, not only against infection, but against hospitalizations and to some extent death. A booster might actually be an essential part of the primary regimen that people should have.
The plan is for every adult to get a booster shot.
All right, you got all that.
Yikes.
And listen, I'm not anti-vaxxer. I'm not. I eventually and begrudgingly got the vaccine, but you can see why people are hesitant to get the vaccine when we're told, and I get it. I even make some allowances. Hey, it's a relatively new thing. We're learning as we go. But all these things we've been told, and then they backtrack. Fauci, over the weekend, backtracked on some things he said within a matter of 24 hours this weekend. Can you understand why we're a little skeptical?
Yeah, I mean, I'm vaccinated as well, but some of these conspiracy theories started to go through my mind because now so many people have it, and it seems like all of them have to say, despite being vaccinated and boosted, I got it. All these people with the 3 shots have COVID, and I'm thinking, you know what? What is it about that booster that suddenly everyone has COVID again? It crossed my mind, and I'm a reasonable person. Like I said, I got vaccinated. I'm not usually a conspiracy theorist, but the fact that these things kind of roll through my mind, this distrust that I've always had a distrust for the government, but it is on, a high level. And it's because of things like this. It's exactly what you just played. It's that, the guidance, the talking, they're saying 17 different things depending on what day it is.
I'm with you on and I'm not a conspiracy theory guy either, but I do wonder sometimes with what has happened with it. It's 2 years in this. I never thought that we would be talking about this 2 years later. Didn't like talking about it then. I gave the info. I should speak for myself here on the show. Here's the info. Do with it what you will, and sometimes get criticized for not talking enough about it. And I feel like talking more about it today because of the infringement on personal freedoms that we've seen because of it. But I'm with you. I'm thinking, okay, we get tantalizingly close to the edge. We're done. Joe said 4th of July, right? And all, okay, that's not and it keeps not happening. Yeah. We're a little skeptical, and everybody, regardless of political affiliation, which shouldn't be said, but it has to be, unfortunately, just live your life. Listen, some people are going to die. And by the way, and we should be really on this, mentioning comorbidities, ages, and things like that. All these people are dying. Man, look at the comorbidities, the ages, and all that. And I don't mean to make light of life, but some people are going to die. But look at where the majority of the folks, the demographics of the people that died. And I've said, to an extent, some of the herd has been thinned out. Really. And let's stop with this. Let's get it over with. That's what I say.
Yeah,
get it over with.
I'll be interested next time Dr. Tobler comes on the show, but I think he would probably agree that the best thing you can do to stay healthy is lose weight, go on a walk, eat healthy food, fix some of the other things, all these comorbidities that you already have, because not only would it help you with COVID, it would help you with all of these other things to lead a healthier lifestyle. And, hoarding tests, wearing masks, all of those things, it might help you from COVID, but it's not going to prevent you from dying from all of these other things. So, a healthier lifestyle, I think we've learned for sure this year is a good thing. And I think people should be more focused on that, more focused on getting some exercise, eating healthy, getting, and mental health. How many people have we lost to mental health issues over the last 2 years? These are where our focuses should be, and not on forcing people to wear masks.
Aaron Rodgers brought up a good point last week. He's like, hey, because he got chastised for lying about getting the vaccine. Just Deshaun Watson's accused of raping, 20 women? Yeah, free pass, man. Another player for the Washington football team over the weekend gets into a deadly car accident. Free pass. Aaron Rodgers lies about COVID vaccine. Boom, media's all over him. But he has said the same thing. Why don't we focus more on taking care of ourselves? Back to the point of, if you look at the comorbidities of the people that die and you look at their health, number one comorbidity, obesity. And that's a fact. You can look that stuff up.
As we all just stuffed our faces full of Christmas sweets, myself included. But yeah, we know it, right? We just we don't want to know it. It's way easier to wear a mask than it is to go for a walk and not eat cookies.
Wash your hands. And so I start to wonder how people who can be so sure especially when there's enough doubt. And we saw this early on if you look at these news outlets compared to these news outlets. But folks so sure about something, and I have said all along, my opinion, this thing's been on the market for a year. Yeah, I'm a little hesitant about putting it in my body. It's been out there for a year. And I've put a lot of foreign chemicals in my bodies over the years, by the way. But this one, yeah, I get a little skeptical. So I wonder how people like this come out and say, hey, you know, when I said that, and I was so strong and forceful about it, and I was arrogant because I knew I was right. I wonder how they cover this now.
Instead of the virus being able to hop from person to person to person to person, spreading and spreading, sickening some of them, but not all of them. And the ones that it doesn't sicken don't know they have it, and then they give it to even more people because they didn't recognize they were, right? Instead of the virus being able to hop from person to person to person, potentially mutating and becoming more virulent and drug-resistant along the way, now we know that the vaccines work well enough that the virus stops.
It's not true.
With every vaccinated person.
Not true.
A vaccinated person gets exposed to the virus. The virus does not infect them. The virus cannot then use that person to go anywhere else.
Not true.
It cannot use a vaccinated person as a host to go get more people.
That is also not true.
That means the vaccines will get us to the end of this.
That's not true. And I'm sure she's going, hey, remember when I said that whole thing? Apparently I was wrong. Welcome into the show. This is Wake Up Columbia. Stephanie Bell is here.
Good morning.
Hannah, the producer, has the day off. Brian Hauswirth is here. My name is Branden Rathert. The big thing here in town today, so a couple of things. Number one, rain in 56. Rain should be ending probably by the time you're done with work later today. But Mid-Missourians, we are being encouraged to stand along today's funeral procession for fallen Boone County Fire Protection Assistant Chief Brian Gladney. So here's some of the details. The funeral for Mr. Gladney is going to begin at 11 o'clock Hearns Center in Columbia, and then from there it's going to leave westbound onto Stadium. Then it's going to head right on to Providence. We'll have more details throughout the morning in case you have some time today. Want to go stand along that route and pay your respects to Mr. Gladney. Coming up 6:25, your daily DC rundown. What's underneath the circus tent today, Stephanie?
So despite all of the different guidance on COVID, we're now thinking about we need to mandate vaccines for something new.
Something new. Mandates. Woo. 6:25, Daily DC Rundown coming up.
We wear short shorts. Wear short shorts. We like short shorts.
So temps in the 50s, waiting on snow. Meanwhile, check that. What a golden opportunity for you to get a jump on spring cleaning. Yeah, Salter Lawn Service, yeah, they're doing this right now, spring cleaning. You need trees trimmed, leaves removed, or things that you want to do that you would normally do in the spring. Salter Lawn Service is doing that right now. How convenient is that? That's why we say Salter, one call, does it all. So, and it doesn't have to be spring to do spring cleaning. It doesn't have to be fall to do fall cleaning. It can be winter with temps in the 50s, and we can do spring cleaning with Salter Lawn Service. So check them out for any kind of spring cleanup now in December. That way you don't have to deal with it in March and April. Salter, one call, does it all.
Thanks for making Wake Up Columbia your favorite morning show. 93.9 The Eagle.
A vaccine requirement for a person getting on the plane is just another level of getting people to have a mechanism that would spur them to get vaccinated.
That's Fauci 48 hours ago. Yes, a vaccination requirement on flights. That would be and then 24 hours later, he evolved.
No, what I said, Jim, was that everything that comes up as a possibility, we put it on the table and we consider it. That does not mean that it is going to be likely to happen. Right now, I don't think people should expect that we're going to have a requirement in domestic flights.
So he evolved on the issue in the span of 24 hours. Anthony Fauci gets us into today's Daily DC Rundown with Stephanie Bell.
Yeah, he walked that back real quick. And I know, there are people in my family who, if there was a vaccine mandate on domestic flights, they'd be like, all right, I'll see you on the road. I'm going to, I'm driving. And I'm thinking all the problems we have with gas prices and chip shortages, that would not be very helpful. So Fauci is evolving on that issue. But yeah, and what we know now is people who have had 2 shots and even the booster are getting it. So what's the point of additionally mandating vaccines when we know vaccines are not stopping people from getting and spreading COVID?
They're getting it and spreading it. So all that's, it'll stop it, and see, it stops with that host because none of that is true.
What is true is that people who are vaccinated aren't getting as sick, and that is a good thing. It's a good thing, but it's not stopping the spread of COVID. And we know that because we've got a U.S. Navy warship that is, I guess, the epicenter of one of the outbreaks. Apparently, there are 100 people on the USS Milwaukee, and roughly 25% of the crew has COVID, and they're all vaccinated. And yeah, they're docked, and they said this is actually the second naval ship to have had this issue and had to take a quick stop because of a giant COVID outbreak. And so this really feels like we're back in 2020 when all the cruise ships and the other ships were breaking out. But what it's saying is, hey, all of these folks are vaccinated, and guess what? They're still getting it. Also, yesterday, related to the military, President Joe Biden signed the National Defense Authorization Act into law. Originally, he had proposed $700 billion in military spending due to concerns of congressional members over Russia and China. That amount was increased, so there's I guess I had that number wrong. Anyway, there's $25 billion more in the bill than Biden originally proposed. It includes a 5% increase in military spending, and it also includes that change to how the prosecutorial jurisdiction over sexual harassment and other crimes. If you recall, that was something the Democrats really wanted, and that's in there. So it has that provision, but it also has the increase that Republicans were looking for. So people are saying, hey, unity, right? Bipartisanship.
Unity, right? Unity, you jackasses. Coming up here on the show, Christopher Arps going to be joining us. I asked him if he wanted to talk about, I was trying to think, if we look here in Missouri, what's the biggest political story of the year in your mind? And there's one thing that pops into mind right away, but I don't know if that's it. I don't know if I'm not digging deep enough. Do you have an idea what would be the biggest political story in Missouri for the year 2021?
Yes.
Okay, you got one?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's see what you got. Maybe Christopher Arps has some. Because I have one, but I'm wondering if I'm like you listening here at 6:29 this morning going like, I think I know what the biggest story, or at least what the biggest story was to me. But what was the biggest story? Maybe one of the things we'll look at with Christopher Arps this morning here on 93.9 The Eagle. But first, Fox News is here. 5 dead in a shooting spree in Denver, uncovering what happened there. And then Fauci, blah, 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 blah. Then coming up, 6:31, Brian Hauswirth is going to be joining us. And here's what he has. How you can pay your respects today to a fallen firefighter, Bryant Gladney today. He's got all the details, all those things you might want to know there. Plus, the governor's budget is in the news this morning. Why is the governor's budget making news headlines? Brian Hauswirth has that 6:31. Then Christopher Arps is here, 6:35. What do you think was the biggest political story of the year in Missouri? We'll have that for you coming up here at 6:35. I have your ABC 17 storm track forecast. Rain today and 56. Then tonight, 33. Tomorrow, rain's going to continue. So basically, we've got long periods of rain, and that's how it's going to be. Tomorrow's high 44. Right now, it's 38. Happy holidays from Steve, Anita, Megan, Jared, and the entire team at Steve's Pest Control, wishing you and your family a safe, happy, and prosperous New Year.
Fox News, I'm Karen McHugh. A record high as over 500,000 new daily COVID cases were reported yesterday here in the U.S. In a virtual meeting with the nation's governors on Monday, President Biden said more must be done to make COVID testing faster.
Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson shared concerns of his colleagues on a video call with President Biden.
Governors are getting pressure to do more, and the need is great to do more in terms of the rapid test and the availability of it.
The president acknowledged.
Seeing how tough it was for some folks to get a test this weekend shows that we have more work to do, and we're doing it.
Fox's Jared Halpern reporting. 5 are dead following a series of shootings Monday near Denver, Colorado. Police call it disturbing.
To have this type of spree take place is not normal for our community.
Denver Police Chief Paul Pazin, a suspect is dead, 1 cop was injured. America is listening to Fox News.
And now, award-winning news coverage with Brian Hauswirth on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. 38 is our current temperature right now in Jefferson City. 35 degrees at the Lake of the Ozarks. 38 degrees here in Columbia. Our time is 6:31. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories that we are working on for you at this hour. Missouri's governor has called a press conference for tomorrow afternoon. He will be announcing new directors of the Missouri Department of Mental Health and the Missouri Department of Revenue, DMH and DOR. Governor will brief Capitol reporters at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Speaking of the governor, he tells me that direct care and frontline state employees often earn less money than entry-level retail positions. The governor will be unveiling a $91 million supplemental request next week. It is aimed at giving state employees a 5.5% cost of living adjustment. That's called a COLA. Under the governor's budget that was approved by lawmakers last May, state employees will receive a 2% COLA increase on January the 1st. Mid-Missourians are encouraged to stand along this afternoon's funeral procession route for a fallen Boone County Fire Protection District Assistant Chief. The funeral for the Assistant Chief, Bryant Gladney, starts at 11 a.m. at the Hearn Center in Columbia. Gladney's colleague, Assistant Chief Gail Blumenkamp, describes Gladney as a dedicated public servant.
He's been a member and served this community for 25 years on the Boone County Fire District. He was an original member of Missouri Task Force 1 and was actually deployed to 9/11.
After the funeral service, the procession will leave the Hearn Center onto westbound Stadium, then turn right onto Providence, then left onto westbound Business Loop 70 to Memorial Funeral Home. The private family service will take place there. We also have these directions on the website. I've put up a story, 939theeagle.com, with more details, including more comments from Mr. Blumenkamp. Meantime, state troopers say their investigation into the deadly collision that killed the assistant chief continues. Highway Patrol Lieutenant Eben Brown telling 93.9 The Eagle that it's a long and detailed process. We spoke to him Monday afternoon. Patrol's crash report says an ambulance and Chief Gladney's vehicles had their emergency lights activated when they were struck by the tractor-trailer last Wednesday morning near Columbia on I-70. The incident happened at the 135-mile marker. The tractor-trailer, we're told, struck those vehicles at highway speed. And state troopers say 8 Missourians were killed during the Christmas holiday counting period. It started Thursday evening, ended late Sunday night. 2 of the deaths happened in mid-Missouri, none in Boone County, 1 in Osage County. 32-year-old Zachary Sutton of DeSoto crossing the center line on Highway 28. He struck a pickup truck head-on. Sutton pronounced dead at the scene. Pickup driver suffering moderate injuries. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 6:34. Turning our attention now to sports. The Mizzou basketball coach, Conzo Martin, is tested positive for COVID. Cornell Mann, an assistant, will serve as the acting head coach for tomorrow night's game at number 17, Kentucky. That game will take place in Lexington. And when you think of the week between, or the few days really between Christmas and New Year, you think of the Great 8 Classic. Lots of tremendous talent has played in this tournament over the years. Great 8 Classic first round at the Jeff City High School last night. Blair Oaks beating Tolton 59-55. Elias over Rogers 58-38. JC over Covington, Tennessee 41-58, 58-41. And then Union, Oklahoma beating Capital City 67-38. Our news time, 6:35.
Eagle Eye Traffic.
Traffic check with MidmoHires.com. Local companies are looking for local people. Visit MidmoHires.com to find a job or to post your job opening today. Roads right now pretty quiet here in mid-Missouri. We certainly will see a lot of traffic around the Hearn Center a little bit later this morning. Funeral services for Mr. Gladney begin at 11 o'clock this morning, and then that procession will be a lot of folks involved in that as well. In hundreds, if not a couple of thousand people. It's hard to say right now. It's raining, but if it clears up, more people expected to be there. People will be lining that route, so be prepared for that. Give yourself some extra time if you're heading into that area today, and you're encouraged as well to stand along the route to show your respects this morning and this afternoon. If you want to report a traffic issue, you can give us a call, 573-874-9390. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes. We have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
I'm Becky Arps, and I am so excited that you get to experience a bit of the thoughts I hear every single day. Enjoy.
Chris.
We enjoy him on Tuesday mornings. Christopher Arps, Missouri-based political consultant, hanging out with us on the show. You see him on Newsmax TV all the time, and I'm pretty sure you're going to love his website, ChristopherArps.com. Chris, let me ask you, because I'm wondering, okay, biggest political story of the year in Missouri. I have one answer that comes to mind, but then I kind of think, maybe I'm not thinking deeply enough. Stephanie, you have an answer that comes to mind?
Yes, right away.
Christopher Arps, first thing that comes to mind when I ask you, in your opinion, what's the biggest political story of the year in the Show Me State?
I would have to say the raising of the gas tax for the first time in decades, if I had to put my money on it.
Okay.
What do you think?
So that was my top three, but it wasn't my first go-to, but it was definitely top three, if not top two, probably second place. Steph?
I'm up next.
Yeah.
Well, because it's personal to me, because if you recall, when I joined the radio earlier this year, I said, sign me up. And I was like, I don't even really know what we're going to talk about. It's going to be such a boring year politically. Who cares about the auditor's race? I mean, really. And so it was Roy Blunt's announcement that Senator Blunt announced, I think a week into the show, oh, hey, I'm not running. And right around when I joined the radio, and I thought, well, this opens up a whole new realm of possibilities. And, of course, how many people have we had on the show this year that were affected by that singular decision?
For a primary
that
that's
was
still
my number 2 story.
8 months. So you've got that as the number 2.
Yeah, that was going to be my number 2, was Roy Blunt retiring.
Okay. So my number 1 was, and it wasn't even Blunt retiring, it was Eric Greitens.
Oh, okay.
That, for me, that's number 1 because of the ramifications, the potential negative things that could potentially happen out of this. It's got people talking. He's already brought in more controversy because of the amount of money that he's raising from out of state. You've got people all over the conservative spectrum saying, dear God, please do not vote for Eric Greitens in the primary. We will, without a doubt, we'll lose the general. You agree with that sentiment?
I do, and Greitens actually was going to be my number 3 story, and that played off of Roy Blunt's retiring. But, yeah, I think number 1, the gas tax, number 2, Roy Blunt retiring, 3 is Eric Greitens' comeback, and the Greitens' comeback is connected to number 2.
So you've got gas tax 1, Blunt retiring 2, Eric Greitens' comeback number 3. Stephanie, you've got Blunt retiring number 1?
Yeah.
And then Greitens, and then gas tax.
I'd have to think on my number.
Right?
Yeah.
And here's another one. By the way, it's Wake Up Columbia. Stephanie Bell, Brian Hauswirth. I'm Branden Rathert, somebody whom we love dearly. Christopher Arps got to hang out with him. Well, I got to hang out with him several times this year, but most notably, he was the featured keynote speaker at this year's Lincoln Day event for Boone County back in April. Great event. So one of the other things I'm thinking, and one of the speakers there that night, Caleb Browden, and some of our local state representatives, Reich, people like that, but kind of the, I don't know, disconnect between the House and the Senate this year and getting legislation moved forward. Is that top five?
I think so, but, a lot of people talk about when you have the supermajorities in the Senate and the House, you think that you'd have, people would come together and you get a lot of things passed. But what that really generates is you have a lot of people that become independent-minded, and you don't get as much passed as you would have thought. So I think you can count that as well.
All right. Chris Arps, ChristopherArps.com, hanging out with us this morning on 93.9 The Eagle. And let's go out nationwide a little bit. So 48 hours ago, Fauci seems to be okay with vaccine mandates.
A vaccine requirement for a person getting on the plane is just another level of getting people to have a mechanism that would spur them to get vaccinated.
Two things there. Number one, to me, it sounds like, he is in favor of a vaccine mandate to get on an airplane. You want to fly out of Columbia Regional Airport? You're going to have to. That's the idea. That's 48 hours ago, Christopher. What's that?
Oh, go ahead. Oh, I thought you were finished. Go ahead.
24 hours ago.
No, what I said, Jim, was that everything that comes up as a possibility, we put it on the table and we consider it.
So he's evolved a little bit on the issue. What does Joe... nobody's talking, it sounds like. What does Joe want to do regarding a vaccine mandate on flights?
What it sounds with all of this is they're trying to incentivize people by not being able to travel or not being able to earn a living to get this vaccine. Planes are one of the safest places that you can be. The air recirculates every 2 minutes. Why? And he even said there's no science involved in this. It's basically because people fly and people need to do this for business and to make money, that this is a way that we can incentivize people to get the vaccine by making it mandatory. There's no science involved in this at all. And I think that's why we saw later the pushback by Dr. Fauci kind of pushing back on a little bit, because this is just heavy-handed government. Has nothing to do with science.
And I think it shows they're out of touch. We're going to force people to do this by these mandates and stuff like that. Tell you what, why don't you just... I really believe this. Back off. Quit New Jersey Department of Health. They had commercials with kids going up to Santa Claus. For Christmas, Santa, I just want a vaccine. I mean, it's dastardly how they've tried to push this on us. Give us the information. You know what? Drop all mandates, drop all vaccines, and see what happens then. See if the American people would be more inclined to maybe get a vaccine. You know what? Since you're not making me, I'll get it. Because there's people like me. Oh, you're going to make me do it? Not doing it.
And it's just the heavy-handedness of just government forcing you to do this. We see that the Omicron variant is not as bad as the other variants. I mean, you've got these NFL players that are testing positive that are not even – they're asymptomatic. They could go out and play if they wanted to. We need to treat Omicron like it's the flu and live with it.
And here's the other thing that I think we're turning the tide as a nation. You get some of the, and I hate to pull the card that, well, even CNN or even MSNBC, but I'll say even LeBron James. I was playing around on the Twitter the other day. LeBron James put out a tweet. Basically, it was a meme, but basically LeBron James was comparing the flu to a cold, to COVID. And he's come under fire. But I think it's people, kind of some of those mainstream elite people, we might call them. A lot of those people we're seeing more and more of. They're like, I'm done with this.
Well, and I'm interested to see how the schools react to the news yesterday that if you're asymptomatic, that you only have to quarantine for 5 days. My daughter has had 2 quarantines, and then, of course, schools took the entire week of Thanksgiving off. And so, in the last 3 months, my daughter's been in school, I don't know, 10 days or something, something horrible. And so, you got to wonder, are the schools and the other folks going to follow this science and allow people to return to work and return to school after 5 days? Or are we all still going to be, at one point we were out for 14 and then 10, now 5.
Yeah, I think so. And part of that's because, what we saw in Virginia and what we've seen in California and other places around the country, parents are upset that their children are not in school and they're not learning, especially when we know that this doesn't affect children. It affects adults more than it does the children. And the parents want their children in school.
Well, the other thing that gets me is so many of these people, so many of the folks, especially on the left, if we're stereotyping, wear a mask, wear a mask. We saw on this airplane over the weekend that former Playboy model punch that dude in the face, slap that dude in the face. Because
spit in his face.
No, spit in his face. And you know what, finally, and here's my favorite part of that. As a matter of fact, I think we'll do some of this audio later, but finally, here it is. I don't know if you'll be able to hear this, but this is what finally got the gal. This is what finally threw her over the edge.
Sit down, Karen.
Sit down, Karen. And that's when she lost her mind, when he told her, sit down, Karen.
I find it very curious that that this woman was a former Playboy model. I didn't know that.
That's new info that you can use on your radio show this afternoon. You can use it on Newsmax TV next time you're on there. Chris Arps.
Oh,
Chris,
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's a very important part of the story.
Yeah, when you're on Newsmax. By the way, Branden Rathert from 93.9 The Eagle in Columbia, Missouri, said this woman who spit and punched on this dude was a former Playboy model. With emphasis, by the way, is it wrong to say I've seen her mugshot in emphasis on former? Is that wrong, Stephanie?
No.
All right.
It's like a Marine. You're always always a Marine. You're always a Playboy model, I guess.
Hey, I want to take a break here real quick, but when we come back, I got time for one more. Do you want to talk about some St. Louisans they're just getting like another money. City of St. Louis gives a bunch of money, COVID. Now they're just giving it to residents. We have that. Anything else we haven't touched on today? Missouri State has completed their probe into the Post-Dispatch over that hacking accusation. Which story you want to cover next?
Let's start with the previous one because I haven't followed the hacking story all that closely.
This story
interested me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, in St. Louis, folks, they can apply for like an extra payment of $500 because of COVID. We'll have more on this story with Christopher Arps coming up at 6:52 on 93.9 The Eagle.
Chris.
Pro Pumping and Hydrojetting. Check out their website, pro-pumping.com. It looks like we've had heavy rain this morning. Rain should cut out later this afternoon, but we have more rain in the forecast. And it's been a while, right? So how's the lagoons and things like that? You wouldn't have to worry about it if you had the folks like Pro Pumping and Hydrojetting on your side, because here's what they do at Pro Pumping and Hydrojetting. They put you on a program, like they come by a couple times a year. They check out the septic tank, make sure it's okay, check out the lagoon. They can drain your lagoon. And the reason you want to get put on one of those regular programs with Pro Pumping and Hydrojetting, it helps you avoid emergencies. More often than not, whenever there's any issue with a septic tank, it's lack of maintenance. That's all. And when you hire the folks at Pro Pumping and Hydrojetting, usually that stuff, it won't happen anymore. So call the folks, Pro Pumping and Hydrojetting, pro-pumping.com.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track meteorologist Kevin Schneider. You want to have the rain jacket ready heading out the door this morning. Showers and a few rumbles of thunder will be with us until this afternoon before moving east, and they could be heavy at times. We'll make a brief run into the 50s on the other side of that rain with some late-day sun joining the picture. Clouds will be on the increase tonight as cold air filters in with overnight lows in the upper 20s and highs only topping out in the 40s tomorrow. I'm meteorologist Kevin Schneider, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on 93.9 The Eagle.
93.9 The Eagle. Watch the show on the Wake Up Columbia Facebook page.
Sit down, Karen.
I love that. Story a lot of folks might be talking about at work today. Former Playboy model punches and spits on some dude because he's eating. He's not putting his mask on. She all of a sudden decides, well, she's the airplane and the mask police. By the way, the whole time she's arguing and going off on the guy, her mask also is off. But of course, Christopher, how can you spit on somebody if you've not removed your mask?
Exactly, and that's just disgusting.
Yep.
I mean, how someone could be that upset over someone else not wearing a mask, and then to take it to a whole nother level of spitting on them is just
I would rather be
beyond
punched
my
in the face any day of the week as opposed to being spit on. I hope she gets some serious charges leveled against her.
You're worried about COVID, and COVID spreads by droplets in the air, and what do? You spit on someone
And touch his face. With your fist.
Yeah.
But the thing that finally did it for her, because they were kind of, jaw-jacking for a while. And
Sit down, Karen.
Sit down, Karen. That's when she flipped her lid, man. That's what did it.
That's what did it.
Chris Arps, ChristopherArps.com, Missouri-based political consultant. You see him on Newsmax TV all the time. Got his own radio show in St. Louis, too. Pretty cool. Meanwhile, in St. Louis, I'm looking at this. St. Louis Post-Dispatch been reporting, so more COVID money. And city leaders are taking actual, as I understand it, money given to the city from the feds because of COVID. And instead of using it for businesses or programs or projects, they're just straight out giving it to people.
Yeah. You don't hear me quoting Jesse Jackson too often on this show or on the radio, but in this case, he has a saying that's true. You give a man a fish, you teach him for a day, you teach him how to fish or whatever, you teach him for a lifetime or something like that. And St. Louis is just flush with money. This is a $5 million program where they're giving $500 away to people that are in need. It's part of the $470 million that we've received from COVID. And then don't forget, Branden, we've got another $700 million that's coming from the NFL. So we're just flush with cash right now. And our progressive mayor thinks that the good thing to do with this cash is to give it away to people at $500 a pop. Also, as we know, that helps buy votes as well. And I think that's a big part of this, too.
Has anyone, I know Joe Manchin got in some hot water for saying that people use the child tax credit cash for drugs, or could use it for drugs. Are people raising concerns about just doling out cash with no strings attached?
Well, they should. I mean, there's a couple of ways that they can get this money. One, I think they can get a check or direct deposit into their accounts, or they're giving them gift cards. And, people can take those gift cards and, if it's $100 or $5 for $100, you'd sell it to somebody for $80 or something just to get the cash, and you can use that to buy drugs. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do find out there was some fraud involved in this eventually.
All right, Chris Arps, ChristopherArps.com. Hope you had a great Christmas and all that good stuff, and we'll look forward to hanging out with you some more in 2021, unless there was anything else that you wanted to add here on Wake Up Columbia this morning.
No, just want to wish everyone a merry, we already had Christmas, didn't we? Happy New Year, and thank you, everyone, for the kind words that you send me on my regular Tuesday appearances, and thank you guys for having me.
All right, thank you. We're still getting some traction on our Festivus show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was so we did a Festivus show Thursday, final show before Christmas, and it was kind of fun. We aired out our grievances, and listeners called in and aired out grievances, and that was pretty insightful. It was interesting, I thought, for listeners to be able to call in and say, hey, when you do this or when you do that, throws me off. As a matter of fact, got a text this morning, says my Festivus thing is kind of on me. Whenever I like to listen to a talk show host, I like to put a face to a voice. I felt bad when I met you. He says, I was picturing 6'5", 250 pounds, like a big biker dude. Which is funny. Like, if you see me, if you watch Wake Up Columbia, which you can watch me and Stephanie on the show by going to YouTube, search 93.9 The Eagle Live on YouTube, and you can watch the show. Now, cool thing about doing that, you pop it up on your smart TV, everybody running around in the house in the morning. You get all the latest news and everything while you're getting busy. But you could see on the show that I am I'm closer to the 250 than I am to the 6'5".
And we're coordinating. We look very sleek in our coordinating black today. That was not planned.
We do it every single day. We color coordinate. So watch the show on the YouTube channel, 93.9 The Eagle Live.
It's time for the Doughman of the Day with Branden Rathert on 93.9 The Eagle.
Hate to say I told you so, but we told you so. There's a man. We go to Minneapolis now. It's from our friends at WCCO, CBS-affiliated radio station there. Man prohibited from carrying a gun. He was arrested in the Twin Cities. This happened the day after Christmas. Here's what happened. Shot himself in the foot. Had to go to the hospital. They do some research. Well, you're not supposed to have a gun. But I know it's no big deal, but because I shot myself, right? No, he's busted.
Five dead in Colorado. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. One of them is the man suspected of killing the other four in a shooting rampage at several locations in and around Denver.
The last of these shootings led to an officer being injured in Lakewood, Colorado. That officer was transported to the hospital and is stable. In Denver, 2 women were killed in the first shooting reported, and a man died in the second. Shots were reported in another location in the city, but no injuries or deaths were reported. Denver Police Chief Paul Pazin says investigators believe the shootings are connected. Rob Dawson, Fox News.
A record number of newly confirmed daily coronavirus cases in the U.S. is reported by Johns Hopkins University, more than 512,000, with 1,762 deaths. The Centers for Disease Control is shortening its recommended isolation time for people infected and asymptomatic from 10 days to 5 days with a negative test. The same goes for anyone exposed to coronavirus without being vaccinated with a booster shot. Talks between the Biden administration and Russian government are scheduled January 10th. It's about security assurances sought by Russia and its military buildup on the Ukraine border.
Ukraine ramping up its defense tactics in preparation for a possible Russian invasion. The country's generals acknowledge that their current forces would stand little chance. Thousands of private citizens volunteering to fight if needed. Their training is well underway in the woods outside of Kiev, with men and women learning combat and weaponry skills. The country's strategic defense plan aims to prepare about 100,000 civilian fighters. That's roughly the same number of Russian armed forces amassed near the border.
Fox's Alex Hogan. Jurors in the Elizabeth Holmes trial in San Jose, California have deliberated 4 full days now with no verdict. They're back at it today. She's accused of lying to investors and patients about the quality of blood testing technology developed by her company, Theranos. America's listening to Fox News.
What are your 2022 business goals? Simplified IT? More security? Dell Technologies has the expertise to help you, from transforming your digital workspaces to providing comprehensive end-to-end IT solutions. Get high-performance computers featuring Windows 11 Pro with powerful hardware-based security and savings up to 45% during Dell's New Year event sale. Get special financing through Dell Financial Services. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Head into the new year with a healthier heart with CocoVia Cardio Heart Supplement. CocoVia's circulation-boosting bioactives have been proven to improve blood flow for better oxygen and nutrient delivery. Try the CocoVia Cardio Health Supplement, available as a capsule or a powder. Visit cocovia.com today. That's CocoAVIA.com. And use coupon code NYNY25 to get 25% off. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration.
Award-winning news coverage with Brian Hauswirth on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 7:03 on this busy Tuesday morning. We're expecting that rain to continue throughout the morning, and then after that, it's going to clear out of here by about noon today. Should be all clear by the time the funeral procession leaves the Hearn Center here, which we'll touch on in a moment for Mr. Gladney. And then we're expecting temperatures to get cold after that. Be prepared for that. Our temperatures will be dipping tonight, and then we could have some potential snow in the forecast later this weekend. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories that we are working on for you at this hour. The 14,000 state employees who work in Jefferson City will receive a 7.5% pay increase by February if state lawmakers approve the Missouri governor's supplemental budget request. State lawmakers and state have said that the employees will already receive a 2% COLA increase effective on Saturday. That's already in effect. The governor's proposing a $91 million supplemental budget that will give state employees an additional 5.5% increase in February on top of that.
The state employees, they're doing a good job. We want to make sure we give them a comfortable wage. We got some makeup to do, and, we compete with the private sector every day for jobs.
That's Governor Mike Parson. The proposed budget also includes the supplemental a $15 per hour minimum base pay. The governor says many state government positions are facing turnover rates between 10 and 100%. Governor says veterans home care attendants and highway employees are among the lowest paid state employees, and he says they would benefit from his proposal. Here in Columbia, Boone County Fire Protection District officials are encouraging you to stand along the funeral procession route in Columbia later today to honor the fallen Assistant Chief Bryant Gladney. He's with the Boone County Fire Protection District. He was killed in the line of duty last week. That funeral will start at 11 o'clock this morning at the Hearn Center. Assistant Chief Gail Blumenkamp says Mr. Gladney served the district for more than 25 years.
He was a bureau director over training for the organization, so EMS training and then ongoing firefighter training for the fire district.
After this morning's funeral service, the procession exits Hearns onto Stadium, then turns right onto northbound Providence. It will then turn left onto westbound Business Loop 70, then arrive at the Memorial Funeral Home. Private services for the family will be held there. The governor did attend the visitation Monday at the Hearn Center. Speaking of the governor, you'll be noticing U.S. and state flags flying at half-staff today at every fire station in Missouri to honor Chief Gladney, the Centralia native killed in the line of duty last week. The governor issued the order. It begins at sunrise here in about 10 to 15 minutes and will go until sunset. Flags at the Firefighter Memorial of Missouri and nearby Kingdom City are also at half-staff today. The governor notes Gladney died while answering the call to assist others during an emergency. Some troubling news here from our news partner, KMIZ. Boone County Sheriff's deputies have removed 3 children from a bug and trash-infested home on New Haven Road. KMIZ is reporting deputies arrived at the home on Sunday evening. They allegedly found an intoxicated Tommy Jones and his wife Whitney arguing in the front yard. Captain Brian Lear telling our news partner, ABC 17, that authorities found trash throughout the home, along with dirty dishes, swarms of roaches on the walls and the floors. There was no food inside the home. They say it was filthy. KMIZ says the Boone County Sheriff's deputies had to leave the home frequently because they became nauseous and were gagging. Again, the 3 children inside that home have been removed, according to KMIZ. In Belle, Bland, Owensville, Versailles, Eugene, and Meta, just a few of the mid-Missouri towns that'll benefit from the Rock Island Corridor. That's according to Missouri's governor and state officials. DNR accepted ownership of the corridor this month. They'll develop the stretch into a public recreational trail. Ameren's donating that property at no cost to the state. The governor says the Rock Island Trail will be the second rail-to-trail state park system in Missouri. That line used to be the former Chicago, Rock Island, and Pacific Railroad Corridor. We have a map from the ceremony up on our website, which is 939theeagle.com. You can see how far this line stretches. It's about 144 miles. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 7:07. Turning our attention now to sports. Let's start with our games coming up today. Great 8 Classic in Jefferson City. If you're a high school hoops fan, you can sit back and enjoy it. 4 games today. First one will start at 4 o'clock. It's the consolation semifinal. Father Tolton taking on Rogers, Arkansas. 2 very good teams. Elias Blair Oaks semifinal game will start at 5:30 this evening. JC and Union, Oklahoma will tip at about 7 o'clock. That is the other semifinal. Then the late game is tonight at 8:30 at Fleming Fieldhouse, Capital City in Covington, Tennessee. That is the consolation semifinal. College hoops, Mizzou men's basketball coach Conso Martin is tested positive for COVID. He made the announcement on Monday on Twitter, says he is feeling well. Thankful to the training staff for keeping the team healthy. Cornell Mann, who's an assistant, will be the acting head coach for tomorrow night's game at number 17, Kentucky. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 7:08.
Well, ABC 17 storm track meteorologist Kevin Schneider. You'll want to have the rain jacket ready heading out the door this morning. Showers and a few rumbles of thunder will be with us until this afternoon before moving east, and they could be heavy at times. Make a brief run into the 50s on the other side of that rain with some late day sun joining the picture. Clouds will be on the increase tonight as cold air filters in with overnight lows in the upper 20s and highs only topping out in the 40s tomorrow. I'm meteorologist Kevin Schneider, and that's your ABC 17 storm track forecast on 93.9 The Eagle.
All right, Kevin, thanks. Great work this morning. Our weather is brought to you by Steve's Pest Control, and our sunrise will take place at 7:27 this morning. We'll set at 4:54 p.m., 37 degrees.
Eagle Eye Traffic.
709, 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com. Our traffic check is with midmohires.com. Local companies are looking for local people. And roads right now are pretty quiet in mid-Missouri. Again, we've been reminding everyone because of the funeral today for Mr. Gladney, and there are a number of firefighters from all over the state who are coming into town for that. You're going to see a lot of fire trucks as well for the funeral. Be prepared for some traffic around the Hearn Center all morning. The funeral service is at 11, and then big crowds expected to line the procession route after the ceremony sometime around noon. We don't want to give you an exact time, but ballpark in that range. So be prepared for that as they make their way down to the business loop in the funeral procession route. If you want to report a traffic issue, call or text us 573-874-9390. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes. We have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
Hot Talk 93.9 The Eagle, broadcasting live from the Zimmer Radio Group World Headquarters. This is Wake Up Columbia.
Wake up, Columbia. It's time to start your day. Wake up, Columbia. Hot Talk is on the way. Wake up, Columbia. To hear the latest news. Wake up, Columbia. To Branden, Rathert, and the Eagle Club.
Now, here's the host of the show, Branden Rathert.
You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations.
These vaccines are highly effective.
Vaccinated people do not carry the virus, don't get sick.
They're really good against variants.
Everyone who takes the vaccine is not just protecting themselves, but reducing their transmission to other people and allowing society to get back to normal.
Get your first shot, and when you're due for your second, get your second shot.
Our key goal is to stop the transmission, to get the immunity levels up so that you get almost no infection going on whatsoever.
When people are vaccinated, they can feel safe that they are not going to get infected.
If you're vaccinated, you're not going to be hospitalized, you're not going to be in an ICU unit, and you're not going to die. If you are fully vaccinated, you no longer need to wear a mask.
Anyone who is fully vaccinated can participate in indoor and outdoor activities, large or small, without wearing a mask or physical distancing.
But what they can't do anymore is prevent transmission.
We didn't have vaccines that block transmission. We got vaccines that help you with your health, but they only slightly reduce the transmissions. We need a new way of doing the vaccine.
The level of virus in the nasopharynx of a person who's vaccinated and infected is the same level as the level of virus in the nasopharynx of an unvaccinated person.
Reports from our international colleagues, including Israel, suggest increased risk of severe disease amongst those vaccinated early.
And if you look at Israel, which has always been a month to a month and a half ahead of us, they are seeing a waning of immunity, not only against infection, but against hospitalizations and to some extent death. The booster might actually be an essential part of the primary regimen that people should have.
The plan is for every adult to get a booster shot.
Would you feel better if they'd come out and just say, hey, let's be honest, we don't know. We're throwing spaghetti noodles up against the wall. Some of them are going to stick, some of them aren't. I would just prefer you do that. We don't know. Here's the latest thing. Here's what we're thinking. Don't tell us all this stuff, because we hear the double talk within a matter of 2 minutes there from all these worldwide leaders and Fauci and all. The vaccine is going to do this, this, and that. And then, no, not true, not true, not true, not true. So you draw a line from point A to point B. Yeah, that sows doubt. Yes, obviously you have people that are very skeptical. So why don't you get rid of the mandates? Get rid of, whether it's for masks, get rid of whether they're in schools, businesses, cities, what have you. You get rid of it. Then see what happens. People are going to they're going to make their decision, and they can live with that choice. They know that. I make a choice. There's some consequences of whatever choice that is that I make. I bet some of these vaccination numbers that they want so badly to go up would go up if you said, okay, we're not going to make you anymore. Psychology.
Yeah, I think in my mind, I think there's going to be a shift, and I wonder how this will affect people's interactions and beliefs about government not related to COVID going forward. And so if you think back to how we were living in March of 2020, April of 2020, we were wiping our groceries. We were, some people were wearing goggles.
Burning
and living
clothes.
Yeah, you didn't know what to do. And I think at that point there was some honesty from the government saying, hey, we're not really sure. So what we're going to do is we're going to err on the side of caution. But now we're just saying they're speaking in more terms of absolutes, and they're just walking back so many different things and saying so many conflicting things. Again, I'll go back to, we're now on 5-day quarantine. We started with 14, then it was 10. There was lots of arguing. Oh my gosh, can we go from 14 to 10? And now they're like, you know what? If you're feeling okay, 5 is just fine. And I think, with COVID, people are really sick and tired. But now my thing is, when it is very important, it's like the boy who cried wolf. When we do have something and the government, should be telling people what to do, which I would say is very rare, right? But if there ever is an instance where I feel like people should be listening to some sort of authority, I think people are going to be still sick and tired, COVID or not.
You know what else? You're encouraged to isolate whenever you get a cold, but we don't call it isolation. It's the words they put on it too. When I say if you have a cold, stay home. Don't go out and get people. We don't call it isolation. It's the same thing. What else do we isolate for? The flu. If you have the flu, we encourage you don't go out and be around other people. If you got something that's transmissible, but we don't call it quarantine. But you put that word quarantine on it, and again, it continues with that trend. It makes it sound like it's such a dangerous thing. I've got to quarantine because this thing is out there to get me. Let's move forward. Welcome into the show. Stephanie Bell's here.
Good morning.
Mr. Brian Hauswirth.
Good morning.
My name is Branden. Rathert, Hannah, the producer, has the day off. A couple of things I want to do. So this is what over the past couple of days had some of our national news outlets flipped out to the point they're making very dramatic claims like this.
I think it is fundamentally about insurrection.
It's about insurrection. That's on CNN. What is about insurrection? We'll have that. But first, I want to get back and fact check something. We got a text, 874-9390 from listener Chris.
Oh, goodness.
So I want to fact check something we were talking about here.
Yeah, Chris texted in and said he's chuckling this morning. He's surprised that neither Stephanie nor Hannah, now Hannah has the day off, so it was all on me, missed what Branden said about putting Wake Up Columbia on your smart TV.
So we've all been friends for a while, hanging out this morning. You're on your way to work or doing whatever it is you're doing at 7:17. You know, you and I have been knowing each other for a while, and I'm always very honest with you, and I know sometimes it frustrates people, as we learned from our Festivus show last Thursday. I mix up my words, and I just do, and I'm always working on, always trying to be conscious of it. But Chris is saying that I said the words and talking about you can watch Wake Up Columbia on YouTube. And one of the cool things you can do, and I'm surprised at the number of people that aren't doing this, they turn the TV on in the morning, their smart TV, and they pop up YouTube, and they search 93.9 The Eagle Live, and they're going to watch it. And as what we're hearing is, it's like, well, we can put up everybody in the house that's running around, kids getting ready for school, he's getting ready for work, and I'm doing this, whatever. I can still catch all the local news with Brian Hauswirth. I can get some local opinion on things that are happening right here where I live. And that's kind of a rarity. You don't get that in every city in America where you have a media outlet where you can go and get so much local news and local thoughts and analysis and local opinions on these things. The national stuff, dime a dozen. Yep. But to do what's happening here, I think is pretty cool. So he apparently, as I'm talking about this, I mixed up my words. He says something like, I can turn on the TV and watch the show while I'm getting busy. He's saying that's what I said. I don't think I said that. So this is from about 6:55 this morning. You can watch the show. Now, cool thing about doing that, you pop it up on your smart TV, everybody running around in the house in the morning. You get all the latest news and everything while you're getting busy. I did say that. Which,
okay,
you know, not inaccurate, though.
No. I think it sounds okay because people are busy.
Yeah. They're getting the news and the stuff. All right. Anything interesting from Christmas? I'll take that as a no.
Yes. I do have
some interesting news.
Yes.
And I have something show related. Remember how we talked about wrestling action figures?
Yes.
Drew got some wrestling action figures for Christmas.
That's awesome.
They are not still in the box, Brian.
I understand.
They will not be preserved.
Awesome. Property taxes due.
Yes.
By Friday? Saturday.
Way to bring down the mood.
Have to be postmarked. I actually talked to Brian last week, and have to be postmarked by Friday at the minimum, or drop by.
And if you go down, for example, in Boone County, if you go down to pay in person, you have to wear a hazmat suit, or otherwise they won't let you in the building. That's not true. Stephanie, you got to fact check me on that.
It's not true.
That stuff.
Do you still have to wear a mask in Boone County government buildings? I think probably.
So this. A lot of national news outlets over the weekend.
I think it is fundamentally about insurrection.
It's about insurrection. What is it that they think was about insurrection? Those are pretty strong words. We'll have that coming up 7:25-ish. Also, we have What's Hot with Hannah today. Stephanie's pinch hitting. What do you have for us today?
So Google is no longer the world's most visited website?
So who would be? If it's not Google, see, I guess that in a heartbeat. Google. Second guess, Google. It's not. Most visited website in the world. What is it? It's coming up 7:25. It's What's Hot with Hannah on 93.9 The Eagle.
Well, you went uptown riding in your limousine with your fine Park Avenue clothes.
My car drives like a limousine. Seriously, I spent 2 days at my dad's house. My dad's goofing around in my car a little bit, and he runs to the store to get some more cigarettes so he can watch Fox News and complain about Obama. And he drives in and says, this is solid. He says, this is really almost 17 years old. I'm like, yeah, Dad, the car is 17 years old. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I just take care of it. I take it to Gap's Automotive Repair Shop. I've been doing that for like 5 years now. Car's got 134,000 miles at this point. They've been taking care of it since before it turned 100,000 miles. And that thing runs well. Even my dad says so. So I'm like, I'll be sure to pass along the word to Gap's Automotive Repair Shop. And that's one of the things I like about Gaps is I feel comfortable. Listen, I don't know a whole lot about cars, and I'm happy to admit it. And so sometimes I'd go somewhere and they'd tell me something, and I don't know what they're telling me, if what people are telling me is accurate. I don't want to doubt people. I trust, but verify. I don't get that vibe from Gaps Automotive Repair Shop, which was probably the biggest thing that went into my decision when I said, you know what? My car needs a regular family doctor, and it's the folks at Gaps Automotive Repair Shop on Vandiver in Columbia and in Boonville.
Hey, it's Coach Gary Pinkel. I like to listen to Branden Rathert on Wake Up Columbia 93.9 The Eagle.
What is the difference between Dubai and Abu Dhabi? The people in Dubai don't like the Flintstones, but the people in Abu Dhabi do.
I don't know why that is so funny.
You gotta love it.
Woo! Getting dizzy. Oxygen to the brain, man. Love those dad jokes. 7:25-ish, which means it's 7:26. Time for What's Hot with Hannah. Step it up to the plate today. Stephanie Bell.
This website surpassed Google in 2021 as the most popular website.
I have no guesses except for maybe Zoom.
Zoom, that's a good guess. That's a good guess.
Facebook,
not a accurate guess. Zoom did not make the top 10. Facebook is number 3. Okay. So Facebook 3, Google 2, number 1 is TikTok. And what you just heard
was from TikTok.
Dad joke from TikTok. So I think you're on the right track with Zoom in that we use Zoom a lot more, but I think also like people were wanting escapism, right? They just wanted to see silly dances, funny jokes, whatever. They weren't searching for any real information on the Google and instead said, just entertain me, right? I'm, this year is not going as I thought and I want to be entertained. And so TikTok, I think it was number 7 last year, but it actually hit number 1 this year. It said it hit 1 billion monthly active users around September. And so TikTok, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, number 6. Netflix, number 7, then YouTube, then Twitter, where you can find us if you're getting busy or if you're bored, right, Branden?
And you can get the news while you're getting busy. Hey,
Twitter.
Still got to know what's going on today.
And then WhatsApp. So I just think that's really fascinating because if you would have asked me, even last year, will anybody ever surpass Google, I would say no, because that's how people, they search, they get their info.
That's where you start, almost.
But it just shows the popularity of TikTok and how fast because did you even know what TikTok was, I don't know, 18 months ago?
I'm still not sure.
You got to get on there.
Well, yes, dude, but I get all the good stuff. I don't have time for that stuff. I'm amazed. You're the busiest person I know on this planet, hands down.
But people send me good TikToks, and then I send them to you.
And I'm like, no wonder she's so busy. She spends a lot of time TikTok. She leaves little time for work and other important things. She's on TikTok all the time.
But there's, so many interesting things going on there, and just really fascinating at how fast tech and, the world is shaping up. And then, you also think TikTok's like a China thing, right? So you also, I think there have been some concerns raised about that. And so lots of interesting dynamics, but TikTok is number 1.
More people visiting TikTok than even Google. Folks, the national news outlet this weekend freaked out.
I think it is fundamentally about insurrection.
It is fundamentally about insurrection, not talking about the events of January the 6th, which, by the way, anybody watch that Tucker Carlson thing, Patriot Purge? I watched it because that's what you do on Christmas. And here's my big takeaway from that. Well, I'll have that coming up because I had a couple of interesting things that I took away from watching Patriot Purge. Meanwhile, if you have watched that on that Fox Streaming America service, let us know what you think. If you've seen that, 874-9390 Fox News coming up here at 7:30. Fauci. Blah, 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 blah. 5 dead in a shooting spree in Denver. Uncovering what we know this morning. The Brian Hauswirth is here at 7:31. How you can pay your respects today to a fallen firefighter, Brian Gladney. Brian will have those stories coming up 7:31, then 7:35. Well, it has a lot of these news outlets flipped out.
I think it is fundamentally about insurrection.
What do they think about insurrection? We'll have that coming up for you at 7:35. Right now, I have your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast. Rain, better part of the day, maybe like before you head home, before 5 o'clock tonight, should stop. Our high 56. Rain continues through tomorrow. Tomorrow's high 44. Right now, it's 38. Happy holidays from Steve, Anita, Megan, Jared, and the entire team at Steve's Pest Control. Wishing you a great holiday season.
Fox News, I'm Jared McHugh. Is he for it or against it? The chief White House medical advisor appears to be backpedaling on comments he made about considering vaccine mandates for domestic air travelers.
I did not say I support mandates on domestic flights. I said that is something that is on the table for consideration. I didn't say I support it or didn't support it.
Dr. Anthony Fauci on MSNBC. Even though President Biden signed the new defense spending bill, he is taking issue with something in it.
Yesterday, President Biden signed a $768 billion defense bill, but he complained the plan doesn't include money to move detainees from Guantanamo Bay. In a statement, the president said the bill constrains the flexibility of the executive branch, adding that Congress should eliminate restrictions about transferring those housed at Gitmo.
Fox's Trey Yingst. America is listening to Fox News.
And now, award-winning news coverage with Brian Hauswirth on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 7:31, 40 degrees right now. In Columbia, we've had light rain all morning. At times, we've had some heavy rain. Our sunrise at 7:27 this morning. I'm not seeing much right now because of all the clouds, and it will set at 4:54 this afternoon. Our high today around 50, and the temperatures will start to go up once this rain moves out, and then we'll have that cold front moving in later today. It'll be much colder tomorrow. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories we are working on for you at this hour. Boone County Sheriff's deputies have removed 3 children from a bug-infested home on New Haven Road. Our news partner KMIZ is reporting deputies arrived at the home Sunday evening, and they allegedly found an intoxicated Tommy Jones and his wife arguing in the front yard. Captain Brian Lear tells ABC 17 News authorities found trash throughout the home, swarms of roaches on the walls and floors, no food inside this house. According to the report, KMIZ says deputies had to leave the home frequently because they became nauseous and were gagging. Again, the 3 children inside have been removed by Boone County Sheriff's deputies and other authorities. Meantime, Missouri's governor says direct care and frontline state employees often earn less than entry-level retail positions. Governor Parson will be unveiling a $91 million supplemental budget request next week. It's aimed at giving state employees a 5.5% cost of living adjustment.
The state employees, they're doing a good job. We want to make sure we give them a comfortable wage. We got some makeup to do, and, we compete with the private sector every day for jobs.
Under the governor's budget approved by lawmakers last May, state employees will receive a 2% COLA increase on January 1st. That is already in effect. They would receive an additional 5.5% increase in February on top of that. That is if the lawmakers approve the governor's plan. The budget bill does have, the proposal has the support of the 2 budget chairs, Dan Hegeman in the Senate, Cody Smith in the House, and if approved by lawmakers in January, the extra pay raise will kick in on February the 1st. Mid-Missourians being encouraged to stand along this afternoon's funeral procession route for a fallen Boone County Fire Protection District Assistant Chief. Funeral for Assistant Chief Gladney begins at 11, the Hearn Center in Columbia. Gladney's colleague describes Mr. Gladney as a dedicated public servant. The funeral procession will leave the Hearn Center onto Westbound Stadium sometime around noon today. Then we'll turn right onto Providence, then left onto westbound Business Loop 70 to Memorial Funeral Home. A private family service will take place at that time. And state troopers say 8 Missourians were killed during the Christmas holiday counting period. It began Thursday evening, ending late Sunday night. 2 of those deaths happening in mid-Missouri, including a fatality in Osage County east of Jefferson City. Troopers say 32-year-old Zachary Sutton of DeSoto crossed the center line on Highway 28, struck a pickup truck head-on. 93.9 The Eagle News Time is 7:34. Turning our attention right now to sports, COVID impacting the Mizzou basketball coach. It's also impacting a number of bowl games around the country as well. We'll start with Conzo Martin. He's the Mizzou basketball coach. He has tested positive for COVID. He made the announcement Monday on Twitter. Says he's feeling well. He's thankful to the athletic training staff there at Mizzou following protocol, keeping the team healthy. Assistant coach Cornell Mann will serve as the acting head coach for tomorrow night's game at number 17, Kentucky. Arizona Bowl, the latest bowl to be canceled because of the issue of COVID. Also, the Fenway Bowl canceled as well. That would have been played at Fenway Park in Boston. High school hoops, lots of action if you're a high school hoops fan going on at the Fleming Fieldhouse in Jeff City. This is the Great 8 Classic, formerly known as the Mike Kehoe Great 8 Classic. For those of you who remember the tournament from years ago, all the games at Fleming Fieldhouse. Blair Oaks beating Tolton 59-55. Elias over Rogers, Arkansas, 58-38. It was Union, Oklahoma beating Capital City 67-38. And JC, a 58-41 win over Covington, Tennessee. Our news time, 7:35.
Eagle Eye Traffic.
And our traffic check is with MidmoHires.com. Local companies are looking for local people. Visit MidmoHires.com to find a job or to post your job opening today. Roads are pretty quiet here in mid-Missouri, although they are certainly wet. Be prepared for that. At times we had some heavy rain overnight. You definitely want to have your umbrella handy as you make your way to your car this morning. Not aware of any other traffic issues. We should start to clear up between 11:30 and noon today, and then expect a lot of traffic around the Hearn Center for the funeral procession involving Mr. Gladney. That will get underway at 11 this morning, and the big procession will start after that over to the funeral home on the business loop. More team coverage in less than 30 minutes. We have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
You killed the officer in that emergency vehicle right there. And he started saying, oh my God, oh my God. He sat down. He said, I was trying to stop, man. And I said, BS.
That was a witness talking to our news partners at ABC 17 last week. Somebody who witnessed that trucker who hit the vehicle that Brian Gladney, assistant fire chief in the Boone County Fire Protection District, the vehicle that he was in, ultimately killed him. Brian Hauswirth, been in contact, Missouri State Highway Patrol, doing the investigation. What are we being told this morning?
Yeah, thanks, Branden. And that's a pretty powerful statement there from the eyewitness. But I did speak yesterday to Highway Patrol Lieutenant Eben Brown, and two main points of what he told me. Number one, the investigation continues. Number two, it is a long and detailed process. We really don't have a time frame. We have one kind of a general, but I don't want to give it because it's subject to change. They're involved in a number of investigations like this, so it could take. It's going to be some time. The only thing I want to add is we saw a similar case to this. Anthony West was the truck driver, a Georgia case, Georgia truck driver, very similar to this. It was during daylight hours back in 2015. And as I recall, that crash investigation took about 5 to 6 weeks. And it was very similar, almost in the exact location.
And memorial services today. Now, there is a way for that the public can take part in this today. So the services will be held at Hearns. And so if you're standing on Stadium, you're looking at Hearns.
Yes.
So funeral services there are over. They pull out of Hearns. Which way they headed?
They're going to be turning left onto, making basically westbound Stadium, turning left onto Stadium, and then almost immediately a right onto Providence. So past the campus, past the Greek houses, etc. And then there's a number of fast food restaurants. There's Raising Cane's down through there, Hardee's, etc. Past Douglas Park, past some homes there. There's some other businesses, Kilgore's, and then eventually down to the business loop. They'll take a left and go westbound to Memorial Funeral Home. But what the Boone County, the media is not allowed inside per the family. We certainly understand that to the funeral. However, they are encouraging everyone, if they can, to line the procession route to show their respect. That's why we're hoping for good weather. And we should, because we're talking about the afternoon. Really doesn't apply to the morning because the procession, the body obviously was at Hearn Center last night, and the procession itself will start sometime, probably 12:15, something like that. Could take a little bit longer.
So that's a way that you can kind of take part today. You stand in the procession along that parade route. We'll be covering that parade route throughout the morning. I don't mean to bum folks out, but man, over the holidays, I just kept thinking, you know, anytime somebody dies, especially when they're a frontline responder, but when anybody dies, it's ugly.
Yeah.
And I was trying to think, you know, trying to deal with a funeral, deal with all that stuff over Christmas, especially. My heart just, you know, it's like you feel, gosh, I wish I could do something for his family, because I got to know that hurts and it sucks, especially over the holidays and all the people that are involved, and maybe younger kids that don't quite understand what's going on. It's just, it's heavy. And I think, you know, as something like, as a community, do we feel that? You know, it's something we feel personally. So if you're feeling that, yeah, man, I feel it too. 874-9390. Good morning, Scotty. What can we do for you?
Hey, Branden, I just wanted to weigh in on
proceedings today. First and foremost, my heart goes out to the family and the close friends. I was a firefighter and a medic rescue diver for a few years, several years back. That's another level and layer of family that a lot of people can't understand. You get real tight in those situations as far as love, respect, and just absolute trust in one another. But on this, I wish there was a better day. There's no good day for this kind of stuff.
Nope.
I'm actually on my way back home right now, north of here, to put one of my cousins to rest today. I'm pallbearer up there, so I had full intentions of being down here for this gentleman's proceedings, but unfortunately I won't make it. But I'll be there in heart and spirit.
Amen.
God bless you, and I'll pray for peace and understanding for him.
Scotty, thank you for the phone call, and we're sorry for your loss, and hope you have a great day. Loss is never fun, especially through the holidays. Did your holidays go okay?
Yeah.
Any catastrophes?
Any catastrophes? I don't
Anything
think
major?
so. Is that what you wished for me?
Yeah.
Something silly.
I asked for a highlight. What went wrong? What went wrong over Christmas? I had a great time. I just spent like 2 solid days with my dad, which is something we don't get to do very often. And he's bringing out, he's like divvying up stuff before he dies, and it's really uncomfortable. But he's like, I'm gonna die. I'm 72, and so he's like, we got this, we got that. Oh, I don't want any of this stuff. Well, he's got this stopwatch from what would have been my great grandfather. Wow. His name was Henry Fitzgerald Rathert, and it's got his little insignia. It's a gold pocket watch. Wow. It's gold. And so we're opening it up, and then we're trying to figure out, hey, what year is this? And so best we could trace it out to is about 1920, because my great-grandfather was in World War I. Mm-hmm. And so we're admiring it and stuff. I'm like, Dad, I don't know. I don't want to be in charge. I can't be in charge of something like this. Don't you know who you're dealing with here? You can't trust me to this. And as I'm playing with this thing, and I break the glass covering of like this 100-plus-year-old pocket watch that's gold that belongs to my great-grandfather. And I done went and messed the whole thing up. So this also happened over the weekend. Man, some of these national news outlets, they lost it over the weekend.
I think it is fundamentally about insurrection.
So what is it he thinks is fundamentally about insurrection? So this may have happened. Now, I thought this was funny. Maybe under the circumstances, not something I would have done. I'm all about the Let's Go Branden, which, by the way, a lot of these media outlets, I love they start explaining what it is, and they have all assumed that it means F Joe Biden. And it doesn't. They're controlling what it means. It means, Joe, it can mean F Joe Biden, but it's not all it means. Be like, we don't like Joe. Let's do something different. So anyhow, Joe Biden and his wife talking to parents are calling in while they're tracking Santa on NORAD.
My family did really enjoy the Let's Go Branden t-shirts that I gave away for Christmas.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm.
So there's Joe and Jill. They're sitting and they're chatting with parents and kids calling in. They're tracking Santa on the radar.
I hope you have a wonderful Christmas.
Well, yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas as well. Merry Christmas, and let's go, Branden.
Let's go, Branden. I agree.
Joe Biden agrees.
He agrees he has no clue where he's at or what is going on.
He agrees. Meanwhile, so this guy, the national news outlets, they have tracked down this guy. He is now getting threats and all this. That's how triggered they are by the phrase, let's go, Branden, to prove how triggered they are. This is on CNN.
Yeah, look, it's ungracious, it's juvenile, it's reprehensible.
I might agree. It's a little juvenile. Sure. Reprehensible? No, I don't think it's reprehensible. Is it silly? Is it fun? Is it humorous and juvenile? I'll agree with that.
The father. But I don't think it's fundamentally about incivility. I think it is fundamentally about insurrection.
Saying, let's go, Branden, is about insurrection.
Yeah, I think it really made some people angry because, as you have said right here, that the office of the president deserves a certain amount of respect. So I think some people took offense to the fact that it was said directly to the president, which, I can understand. But is it about insurrection?
Right. It's it's overkill. Again, it's fear porn. Let's scare people.
Well, and it's right in their narrative, right? Their narrative is that all the Trump people are anybody who supports Trump and anybody who hates Joe Biden are the same people who were wearing the crazy outfits in the Capitol on January 6th. And they keep going. And that was the ultimate, in their minds, insurrection. And so they're equating all of this. We're all in the same basket of, no teeth, flannel wearing, Capitol storming.
We all wear coonskin hats when we go out in public and carry sticks and paint ourselves up in war paint. We all do it. All of us who voted for Trump. I voted for Trump 5 times, and I ain't never put a coonskin hat on my head.
And, of course, these are the exact same people who were saying, F Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Every which way. They had shirts. It was all over their social media. And a lot of them have been called out on that, and that people have gone back and, have the receipts of their social media where they did the exact same thing for Trump. But now that you're criticizing Joe Biden, it's different rules.
FJB, is it a little juvenile? Sure. Is it funny? Can I take it? Sure. The left, can they take it? No. That's about insurrection. It shows you how triggered they are by words. If you know... So... let's go, Branden. Fun, humorous, gets the point across. That's funny. Somebody holding a supposed severed head, a severed bloody head of a current sitting president, that's not funny. And if, let's say you're somebody and you can't stand Trump and you get triggered, you say words like, it's insurrection. Whenever they say, let's go, Branden, like these folks on CNN are just amazing.
But I don't think it's fundamentally about incivility. I think it is fundamentally about insurrection.
If you think the phrase, let's go, Branden, is about insurrection, I'm not going to chastise you. Listen, to each their own. But you might want to call 1-800-343-HELP. 800-343-HELP. If you still suffer from TDS, from Trump derangement syndrome, if you pee your pants every morning and suck your thumb at night because you can't stand the thought that people are saying words like, let's go, Branden, call 800-343-HELP. Kamala Harris, she's being interviewed. How come you're getting so much flack? What's the problem here? Why do you think the media is picking on you? Guess what the answer is? I'll give you 2 options. She blamed it probably on climate change or racism. Her answer coming up at 7:53 on 93.9 The Eagle. Good morning. This is Wake Up Columbia. Rain for better part of the day.
I was talking with a friend of mine, said a woman that hurt his pride.
Salter, one call does it all. Check it out, man. I'm going to throw a curveball here at you right now. Spring cleaning. I know. It's the end of December. It's the end of the year. We've got rain today, maybe 56 right now. It's only 38. Probably not thinking about spring cleaning, but because we've been blessed, I think, with some pretty nice weather, Salter Lawn Service is saying, hey, we might save you some time and a little headache come springtime if we do your spring cleaning now. They're doing spring cleaning projects now. So here's what you do. You find Salter online, or you can call them, because, Salter, one call does it all. So they can come out and do leaf removal, tree trimming, any of that stuff that you might do in the spring. Clean up, throwing old stuff away. They will do that, and they can do it for you when you call them now. Say, man, you'll be getting your spring cleaning done here at the very beginning of winter. How cool is that? How cool is Salter? Salter, one call does it all.
putting the fun in dysfunctional. Wake Up Columbia, 93.9 The Eagle.
We ask that people don't put their cardboards, paper products in the blue bags. You put those into another box or a paper bag and leave those out on your regular recycling days.
All right, did you get that? If you live in Columbia city limits, you got the whole thing figured out with the blue bags and the black bags and what days because of the holidays and what do you got to break down and put in these bags and what days. You got all that? I'll tell you what, I love Columbia. I do. The politics, there's a lot of peripheral stuff that makes it not my, but I like living here, and I have pride in where we live. Our ineptitude when it comes to dealing with trash.
It's rough.
6 years I've been here. Roll carts, what do we do? What are we going to do with yard waste? Only 2 bags a week. It's, how do you explain it? It's years
a mess.
From now.
Yeah. Well, and one fun thing that I've seen people do, and I think this is awesome, I haven't done it myself yet, was, a lot of people, you take like a plate of cookies to your neighbors or whatever, but some neighbors in neighborhoods, they just get one of those big commercial dumpsters and put like a Christmas card on it and say like Merry Christmas from the Bells and let all their neighbors pile their extra cardboard from Christmas into it and like have a shared dumpster for your neighborhood. And I'm like, that is a Christmas present I would actually appreciate, especially in Columbia, since I don't know if you have all that trash. I mean, it might take you months to stuff it in the bags. Most of those boxes, I mean, I got kids. The boxes that come with this plastic kids junk, I mean, it would take me months to stuff enough cardboard in a bag to get rid of it. Just light it on fire, right? Is that allowed in Columbia?
No, you have to take it to your friend's house in Jeff City where they allow you to burn crap on the front yard. City Solid Waste Crews, this in Columbia, will be collecting natural Christmas trees, regular pickup days beginning Monday.
And in Southern Boone and Ashland, there are big recycling dumpsters over near the school, near the primary school. And there is also, if you have yard waste, there is disposal. I think there's special rules for Christmas tree waste. But yeah, look it up.
Yeah, look it up. GTS, man. Welcome into the show. Hannah has the day off. It's Wake Up Columbia. Brian Hauswirth. Hannah, the producer's off. I mentioned that. That's Stephanie Bell. My name is Branden Rathert. Kamala Harris, she's been incredibly busy. She's getting it tight. She's getting some reins on what's happening at the border. She's been put in charge of some other stuff, and apparently she's not doing anything. She's on CBS. Maggie Brennan asked her, man, the media is being so harsh on you. Do you think it's and it's not because, again, this mindset of that party, you're not responsible for what you do. So she's not responsible for the fact that the news outlets are covering her, and they cover the good, the bad, and the ugly. But remember, Democrats, you're not responsible for anything. It's always somebody else. For example, January 6th, those people that did that, they're not responsible. Trump is responsible. Somebody else is responsible. Alec Baldwin, somebody's responsible for, I didn't shoot that woman. So we'll give you an idea of that mindset here. We know that mindset of the Democrats. Don't take responsibility for anything. So is it wrong to say, well, Kamala Harris, she's been getting some negative coverage because she hasn't really done a whole lot? She's asked about this by CBS's Maggie Brennan.
Why do you think there is such scrutiny? I mean, women are always held to a different standard. That's just a fact.
Oh.
Is the fact that you're a woman and the fact that you are a minority in this office part of why there is such scrutiny?
So she's answering the question for her. By the way, that is irresponsible journalism. She's saying, is it because you're a woman and is it because you're a black? And she's given opinion on something that she can't state as a fact. There is nothing factual. You cannot find a factual formula that says women are treated differently. There is just no facts to back up that statement, especially when you're a journalist. And then to try to spoon feed this answer from Kamala Harris. Basically, yeah, I'm a woman and I'm black, so that's why they're saying bad things about me. It's not because she has done nil, zilch, nada, nothing at the border. It's not because of that. It's not because she doesn't know how to handle herself out in public. It's not because she's rude to the media. The media is truthful about her because she's a black woman.
Omicron's spreading. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. That newly dominant and more contagious variant represents 58.6% of the coronavirus cases in the U.S. as of Saturday, according to the Centers for Disease Control. Johns Hopkins University reports a record number of new daily confirmed coronavirus cases worldwide and in the United States, more than 512,000 here, with 1,762 more deaths. We're told there are no plans to make Americans get vaccinated to board domestic flights.
Federal Infectious Disease Chief Anthony Fauci suggested it might be a way to encourage vaccination, but now he tells MSNBC,
I did not say I support mandates on domestic flights. I said that is something that is on the table for consideration. I didn't say I support it or didn't support it.
Airlines have been struggling since Christmas to keep flying due to staff calling out sick and needing to quarantine due to testing positive. Eben Brown, Fox News.
More than 700 flights are canceled into, out of, or within the U.S. already today, according to the FlightAware tracking website. President Biden has signed a $768 billion defense spending bill into law, 5% increase over last year and $25 billion more than he initially requested. It includes a 2.7% pay raise for service members next year. New rules for how employers have to pay tipped employees, finalized by the Labor Department.
Employees who earn tips are allowed to be paid less than hourly minimum wage, as long as the tips make up the difference. But some work is done by those tipped employees during the course of their day that is not tipped work, say certain kinds of prep work. And the Department of Labor is now using what is called the 80-20 rule to tell employers how to compensate for that. Employers can pay employees less than hourly minimum wage for non-tipped work that is done to prepare for the tipped work, as long as it makes up less than 20% of an employee's hours. Any time spent performing non-tipped work must result in the worker being paid at least full minimum wage.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. America's listening to Fox News.
What are your 2022 business goals? Simplified IT? More security? Dell Technologies has the expertise to help you, from transforming your digital workspaces to providing comprehensive end-to-end IT solutions. Get high-performance computers featuring Windows 11 Pro with powerful hardware-based security and savings up to 45% during Dell's New Year event sale. Get special financing through Dell Financial Services. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Do you remember your last year's resolution? If not, think New Year, New You with CocoVia's Memory Plus capsules. Made from well-researched plant-based nutrients, CocoVia can improve memory and brain function in just 8 to 12 weeks. Order now at cocovia.com, that's COCOAVIA.com, and use coupon code NYNY25 to get 25% off. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease.
And now, award-winning news coverage with Brian Hauswirth on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 8:03:41 right now in Columbia. Dreary day right now. We have light rain falling outside, very little sunlight to say the least right now, and the winds are picking up as well, about 12 miles per hour. 41 here in Columbia. It's 39 degrees in Jefferson City. The sun rose at 7:27 this morning. Haven't seen it as of yet, and we're expecting the rain to clear out of here by about noon today. We'll have a complete check of your forecast from meteorologist Kevin Schneider here in a few moments. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories we are working on for you at this hour. We've received a number of calls from listeners about a wreck on Highway 63 near the sod farm, kind of in the Hartsburg area. Highway 63 near the Boone-Callaway County line. I just got off the phone with Joint Communications that apparently that wreck has been cleared, but it did cause some traffic issues earlier last hour, so be prepared for that. There could be some backup because of the earlier accident, but I am told that has since been cleared up. Meantime, the 14,000 state employees who work in Jefferson City will receive a 7.5% pay raise by February if state lawmakers approve the Missouri governor's supplemental budget request. State employees will already receive a 2% COLA increase effective Saturday. Governor Parson proposing a $91 million supplemental. It would give state employees an additional 5.5% increase in February. The governor's proposed budget also includes a $15 per hour minimum base pay, $15 an hour for people who don't make that amount already. The governor tells 93.9 The Eagle that state government positions, many of them are facing turnover rates between 10 and 100%. Governor says veterans, home care attendants, and highway employees are among the lowest paid state workers. He says they would benefit from his proposal. Speaking of the governor, he was here in Columbia yesterday evening, the visitation for a fallen Boone County Fire Assistant Chief Bryant Gladney. And the governor was at the visitation. He also has ordered all flags to be flown at half-staff today. We have more on the governor's order, and I linked to it on our website, 939theeagle.com. The fire district itself is encouraging you to stand along the procession route today for Chief Gladney. The funeral started at 11 at the Hearn Center. Assistant Chief Gail Blumenkamp says Mr. Gladney served Boone County Fire for more than 25 years.
He was a bureau director over training for the organization, so EMS training and then ongoing firefighter training for the fire district.
After this morning's funeral service, the procession will exit Hearn Center onto Stadium, then turn right onto northbound Providence. It will then turn left onto westbound Business Loop 70 and arrive at the Memorial Funeral Home. A private family service will be held there. As Branden Rathert mentioned last hour, Missouri State Troopers are saying their investigation into the deadly crash that killed the assistant chief continues. Highway Patrol Lieutenant Eben Brown tells 93.9 The Eagle it's a detailed process, lengthy as well. Boone County Fire Protection District Assistant Chief Blumenkamp says Mr. Gladney was working a prior crash along I-70 at the 135-mile marker early Wednesday morning when a westbound tractor-trailer struck his vehicle at highway speed. Gladney was pronounced dead at University Hospital. About 30 minutes later, the highway itself, westbound I-70, closed for more than 6 hours after the crash. State troopers say 8 Missourians were killed during the Christmas holiday counting period. It began Thursday evening and ended late Sunday night. None of the fatalities here in Boone County. In Bland, Owensville, Versailles, Eugene, Meda, and Bell, just a few of the rural mid-Missouri towns that will benefit from the Rock Island Corridor, according to Missouri's Governor Mike Parson. DNR accepted ownership of the corridor this month. They plan to develop the stretch into a public recreational trail. Ameren donating the property at no cost to the state. Governor says that the Rock Island Trail will complement the existing Katy Trail. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 8:07. Turning our attention now to sports. COVID has really been something that we have talked a lot about, especially involving bowl games. Central Michigan is now playing in the Sun Bowl. The Arizona Bowl is now off. That is according to ESPN, and they're reporting that again this morning. So basically some shuffling as they tried to fill some other bowls, and now the Arizona Bowl is off. Fenway Bowl in Boston off as well. Missouri men's basketball coach Conzo Martin testing positive for COVID. He made the announcement on Twitter Monday, says he's feeling well. He's healthy, he says, and he's also thankful to the MU athletic training staff following protocol in keeping the team healthy. So Coach Martin will not be in Lexington tomorrow night. Cornell Mann, the assistant coach, one of them will be the acting head coach for tomorrow night's game. Kentucky, by the way, ranked number 17 in the country. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 8:08.
Well, BBC 17 Stormtrack meteorologist Kevin Schneider, you'll want to have the rain jacket ready heading out the door this morning. Showers and a few rumbles of thunder will be with us until this afternoon before moving east, and they could be heavy at times. Make a brief run into the 50s on the other side of that rain with some late day sun joining the picture. Clouds will be on the increase tonight as cold air filters in with overnight lows in the upper 20s and highs only topping down the 40s tomorrow. I'm meteorologist Kevin Schneider, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on 93.9 The Eagle.
Right now it's 40 degrees in Columbia.
Eagle Eye Traffic.
It's 808 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com. Traffic check is with midmohires.com. Local companies are looking for local people. midmohires.com. Again, we've had a couple of calls about this accident on Highway 63 near the sod farm. Some are saying it's closer to the Boone-Callaway County line. Regardless, somewhere in the Hartsburg area. I did speak to Joint Communications. That accident has cleared up, but based on our listeners, it sounds like there still may be some sort of a traffic backup as they had worked to clear that earlier. So be prepared for that. That would be in the Hartsburg area. Claysville Road, perhaps, would be the exact area of that, but it's near the Boone-Callaway line. If you've got an exact location, give us a call or a text 573-874-9390. One listener saying it's a sod farm that the accident is taking place. I'm not aware of the sod farm down in Hartsburg, but if you know of one, let us know. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
Hot Talk 93.9 The Eagle, broadcasting live from the Zimmer Radio Group World Headquarters. This is Wake Up Columbia.
Wake up, Columbia. It's time to start your day. Wake up, Columbia. Hot Talk is on the way. Wake up, Columbia. To hear the latest news. Wake up, Columbia. To Branden, Rathert, and the Eagle Crew.
Here's the host of the show, Branden Rathert.
We grew up together. We trained together. We worked together. And, you know, it's personal to me because I actually knew him and actually grew up with him.
He was a bureau director over training for the organization.
It brought back memories from when we had a line of duty death. It hits home when it's one of your own.
He was an original member of Missouri Task Force 1 and was actually deployed to 9/11.
We may not have been on the same department, but we're still in the same type of work. We work together.
Remembering a hero today, I want to say I was out of town for a couple of days. It was cool to come home and seeing a couple of businesses have put up signs honoring Brian Gladney. I know one offhand specifically, Applebee's there on Broadway in Columbia, and there's probably more, but I thought that was really cool to see the community get behind, you know, the family and the rest of the community, because this stings, not just the family and the people that he has helped over the years, Mr. Gladney, but, you know, it kind of stings. It stings all of us. Listener Jack wanted to know how long the procession is going to be today. We don't know, but we do know folks somehow say, hey, what can I do to take part? So there's a service happening at Hearns, but when that's over, here's some things you might want to know if you'd like to pay your respects today.
Yeah, absolutely, and I concur with that. We don't know because there's going to be time for people to get in at least an hour. I'd give it at least an hour. Could take a little bit longer than that, and then the folks have to go outside and get into the vehicles as well. So be prepared for that. But at least I would think until noon. But as Branden mentioned, basically the procession will exit Hearns. The procession starts at 11 o'clock, the funeral itself at 11 o'clock. Sometime in the noon hour, that procession will exit Hearns, Branden, on the stadium, very quick left there, then almost an immediate right onto northbound Providence, then down Providence to Business Loop 70. That's quite a ways. I got to go through a lot of red lights. That will certainly impact some traffic because there's a lot of through traffic in that area. They will arrive at the Memorial Funeral Home, which is down a number of blocks. That's quite a drive there as well, down on the other end, basically, of the business loop. Private family service will be there. So basically what they're asking folks to do is to show your respects. Weather, hopefully it'll clear by then. We think it will, into line somewhere along those routes.
So we don't know how long it's going to be, but basically anywhere from outside the Hearns Center to that short jaunt down Stadium to right on Providence. And they are saying, officials telling us, yes, if the public, if you want to line that route and pay your respects to Mr. Brian Gladney, the firefighter who died in the line of duty last week, you can do so today. And, of course, if you have any other questions, let us know, 874-9390. Anxious to talk to Eben Brown with Fox News here about all the canceled flights this weekend. But first, want to cover this. Somebody telling us via text, several accidents southbound on 63, southbound at the Boone-Callaway County line. Also in front of the Turkey Creek Golf Course, and also on the Missouri River Bridge in Jefferson City. So we're getting some notes, some slowdowns in that area. Brian Hauswirth will look into that for you. Welcome into the show. Wake Up Columbia. Hannah, the producer, has the day off. Stephanie Bell.
Good morning.
I'm Branden Rathert. Fox's Eben Brown hanging out with us, man. I was really bummed I didn't get to go and fly to see my grandkids over the weekend. And then I thought, it looks like it may have been just as well. Thousands of cancellations when it comes to flights over the weekend. Want to bring in live from Florida, Fox's Eben Brown, and I want to preface it by saying, so last time we saw a whole bunch of cancellations, we heard varying reasons as to why there were all these cancellations that affected thousands of people, and it seemed like there were different answers. Nobody completely sure why. Are we getting a straight answer as to what happened this go around?
Oh, and it's still going on, and this really has to do with sick-outs due to COVID-19, where people are testing positive. I mean pilots and flight attendants and ground crew. they're testing positive, not necessarily symptomatic, but because they've tested positive, they can't come into work, and that is causing real havoc in our flight systems, not the computer systems, but the way we organize the flights in this country. Because if a flight can't leave Orlando and doesn't get to Atlanta, that the next flight can't go from Atlanta to Chicago or wherever. And that strands people in 3 different cities, and then on and then on and then on. So we've been seeing this problem really worldwide since right before Christmas Day. And some of the regulators in Europe have been relaxing the amount of time needed to be spent in quarantine if one is positive but asymptomatic. And now the CDC is doing the same as of last night. So if people had tested positive, if airline workers had tested positive on Christmas Eve, they really only have another day or 2 before they can come back to work, provided they've been asymptomatic, and that may help relieve some of this.
Fox's Eben Brown hanging out with us this morning on 98.3 the Eagle Airport here at Columbia Regional Airport, home of the Mizzou Tigers. We have, limit, I think, total of 8 incoming and outgoing flights a day. Mike Parks, director of the airport, might be listening and cringing if I got those numbers wrong. But because of where we're situated, so if we have a flight that comes in from Dallas that can't come in the night before for its last inbound arriving flight, then guess what?
Yeah, that next morning flight can't go out.
Exactly.
And then whoever was supposed to be on that flight, see, when you go to a big hub, like let's just say it's Chicago O'Hare or Orlando or something like that, you can maybe get on the next flight. Maybe you could fly standby because there's a gazillion flights going in and out at all times. When you're at a smaller regional airport, and I'm not very familiar with Columbia Airport, but when you're at a smaller airport and the whole flight is nixed, maybe it's a small plane. Maybe you've got 30 people on the plane. Let's just say you can't put all 30 of them on the very next flight without bumping the next 30 people. So you have a problem. And chances are, if you're at a spoke and not a hub, you don't have a bunch of extra equipment lying around and standby pilots and the like to be able to pick up the flight. So you do end up with this cascading issue.
And the other thing, too, so basically it's just people are getting sick, shortage of employees, and a lot of folks, I'm looking at businesses around mid-Missouri here and at our capital, Jefferson City, they're getting low on employees. I don't know, I guess you go to Indeed.com and look for extra employees there. I'm guessing as an airline, you don't really go to Indeed.com and look for spare pilots. Any words of hope coming from the airlines this morning, Eben?
Not so much, really. They're just a little hopeful that the easing of this restrictions on who can work might be helpful here, because if a pilot who tested positive on Christmas Eve has not had any symptoms, he'll be able to come back, or she'll be able to come back to work relatively soon, and that's a good thing. The problem here is twofold. One, the airlines are prevented from having a lot of their people work to begin with because there are a lot of people who chose not to be vaccinated. And so they were told that those people can no longer work. So they're either on, leave or they've been let go. And then on top of that, those who did get vaccinated are still testing positive and being told they can't work. So it does put them in a real crunch.
Yep, it's a mess everywhere. Fox's Eben Brown in Florida this morning, keeping tabs on what's happening with the airline and all those cancellations we've seen since Christmas last week. Eben, it's always been a pleasure on the occasions we get to chat with you in 2021. Always been cool, and look forward to hanging out with you some more.
My pleasure. Anytime.
All right, we'll see you. Eben Brown in Florida this morning. So yesterday, Conference of Governors, Biden is on the phone call with the governors that are all chatting, getting ready to take questions from reporters.
I want to thank the governors for their partnership, and I mean that sincerely. With that, I'm not going to turn it back over to Jeff, and I understand you guys may have some questions. Jeff?
Good. I think we're going to clear the press first.
We're going to take questions, but we're going to kick the press out of the room first. The Fourth Estate. The Fourth Estate, we are here for a reason, to watch what you are doing. And you have the First Estate leadership kicking out the Fourth Estate. That's wrong. Coming up, Morning Bell with Stephanie Bell. Business news with that little twist that only Stephanie Bell can give you. What do you have for us this morning?
Walmart is making this country mad.
Walmart's upsetting, they're pulling a Joe Biden. They've made France mad at us.
Not France.
Well, not France. All right. Who is it that they've upset? Stephanie has the answer for you. Coming up at 8:25 here on 93.9 The Eagle. Good morning. This is Wake Up Columbia.
This is the show people are talking about. Wake Up Columbia with Branden Rathert. 93.9 The Eagle.
You can watch the show. Now, cool thing about doing that, you pop it up on your smart TV, everybody running around in the house in the morning. You get all the latest news and everything while you're getting busy. Listener Chris pointing out this morning, I ain't always good with my words. I didn't mean to say, but you can get all the latest news while you're getting busy. It's not what I was trying. I didn't even catch it. Nobody on the show caught it.
I didn't either. Chris caught it.
Listener Chris caught it. Thank you for that, man. We appreciate it. Welcome into Wake Up Columbia on 93.9 The Eagle. Hannah, the producer, has the day off. Brian Hauswirth, Stephanie Bell is here. My name is Branden Rathert. If there is something that we can do for you, 874-9390. Working on getting some confirmation, apparently. Several issues on 63 southbound at the Boone-Callaway County line, also in front of the Turkey Creek Golf Course, and northbound on the Missouri River Bridge. Brian Hauswirth, we're going to get you details on those. If you're in that area, please, as always, let us know. Send us a text. Let us know what you're seeing at 874-9390. 8:25, time for the Morning Bell with Stephanie Bell. Business news with that little twist that only Stephanie Bell can give you.
So Walmart is making China mad, and I say good on them. Good on Walmart.
What did they do?
So there was a recent law passed that bans all imports from the northwestern Chinese region, and this has to do with concerns over forced labor and human rights concerns, and this is from Xinjiang. And so what's happening is Walmart said, yeah, we're going to not source some products from there and in their Chinese stores, which apparently they have like Walmart and Sam's. And so now the Chinese are recognizing that. They're going to the stores and they see,
They have Sam's Clubs in China? Are they called Sam's?
Yeah, Chinese-based Walmart and Sam's Clubs.
Do they call them Sam's?
I don't know, but they said the Chinese people, some of them are canceling their Sam's Club memberships because they're going into these stores used to these products that are sourced from this area and aren't able to find them. And so they're going on social media and other places criticizing Walmart. I think this is interesting. I think good on Walmart for standing up.
Yeah.
I guess some other corporations have tried to do this. I guess last week, Intel actually issued an apology back to Chinese consumers after publishing a letter saying it would like suppliers to avoid sourcing from that area, and that angered the Chinese. And now Intel is saying, "Oops, sorry, didn't mean to make you mad." And so I wonder, will Walmart, now that this Chinese social media and some of the government-backed social media sites have picked up on this, is Walmart going to stand their ground, or are they going to, in a week, issue an apology and say, "Never mind, we really didn't mean it"?
Yeah, it's a little bit more than a, my bad. You sometimes say, my bad, I messed up, Steph, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and we've got this law now, so I mean, they should be following this. And so I guess Intel's thing, it was just a letter to encourage people, but yeah, I think this is in their actual Chinese stores. So I think I think we should keep the pressure on China, and I think one way to do it is by doing just what Walmart's doing, and I think we're going to have to rely on them and others to stay strong. Even despite, TikTok's prevalence and the prevalence of the Chinese economy.
By the way, I got a text, 874-9390. Number one most visited website in the world for years. It's Google. Not today. New number one on that list when it comes to most visited websites.
TikTok.
Nathan sends a text, 874-9390. Branden, do not get on TikTok. There's a reason the military warned its members to stay away from it. Can you say it's connected to China and they
So ByteDance is a company that basically developed TikTok, and ByteDance is a Chinese company. So and the Chinese government actually has a stake in ByteDance, which then developed TikTok. So there are a lot of, you should do your research before you decide to download TikTok.
I was going to say, yeah, you should do your research before you download TikTok onto your phone. 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com. We got a lot of leftovers stuff that it wouldn't make sense to do this at the start of the new year. Things like Kim Fox, the Cook County State Attorney's Office, lied in this Jussie Smollett investigation. She violated legal ethics. Nothing on a criminal front, but she was apparently, the prosecutor is communicating with Smollett's family. And she lies. No, I quit communicating with him whenever they realized, hey, this might actually be a hoax. You might actually be charging Jussie Smollett. She continued to talk to the family And then live about it. Coming up, Fox News is here. Fauci and blah, 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 blah. Also, shooting spree in Denver, uncovering what happened there. Fox has those stories at 8:30. Then Brian Hauswirth is here. How you can pay your respects today to a fallen hero. And the governor's budget is making news this morning. How come? Brian has that story coming up at 8:31. Right now, I have your ABC 17 storm track forecast. Rain and 56 today. It looks like before 5 o'clock that rain should come to an end, but basically off and on next couple of days. 33 is the low tonight. Rain, 44 tomorrow. Thursday, some sunshine, 51. Right now, 36. Happy holidays from Steve, Anita, Megan, Jared, and the entire team at Steve's Pest Control. Steve's Pest Control wishing you and your family a safe, happy, and prosperous new year. Check out Steve's Pest Control online at stevespestcontrol.com.
I'm Karen McHugh. The CDC says that as of Christmas Day, the Omicron variant now accounts for almost 60% of all COVID-19 cases in the U.S. With that in mind, they've issued some new quarantine guidelines.
Despite a shortage of tests and a rise of cases, the CDC announced yesterday quarantine measures will be cut in half. According to the new guidelines, if you test positive, regardless of vaccination status, stay at home for 5 days instead of 10 days if symptoms are resolving. Continue to wear a mask around others for another 5 days. If you're exposed to someone with COVID-19 and are boosted or completed the first round of vaccine shots, wear a mask around others for 10 days, test on day 5 if possible. If exposed or unvaccinated or got shots more than 6 months ago, stay home for 5 days, wear a mask for another 5 days.
Fox's David Spunt. Over 500,000 new COVID cases were reported Monday, a new daily record. America is listening to Fox News.
And now, award-winning news coverage with Brian Hauswirth on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com.
93.9 The Eagle News Time with Robinson's Cleaners. Robinson saves you time. It is 40 degrees right now in Columbia, 39 degrees in Jefferson City. We're expecting a high today into the 50s, and things should start to clear around the noon hour. We'll have a complete forecast coming up here in a little bit. Good morning, everyone. Here's some of the stories we are working on for you at this hour. I just got off the phone with Lieutenant Dave Williams from the Jefferson City PD. We've had a number of calls from listeners about wrecks in the Jefferson City area. Just talked to Lieutenant Williams. It is raining. A lot of those calls seem to be coming in about that. There's one wreck that's been on the Missouri River Bridge right there at 54 and 63 where they run together. No reports of injuries according to Lieutenant Williams right now, and that is on or near the bridge. JCPD on the scene. Not aware of any wreck as well. We've had several of you mentioning a sod farm. No accident at that sod farm. However, there is one a little bit further back near the Summit Lake Winery, and Callaway fire trucks are on the scene right now for that, and authorities on scene for that as well. Don't believe those injuries are serious either, but those are the two accidents and crashes that authorities are working down near the Missouri River Bridge. Apparently, police have received a number of calls about the wreck on the bridge. We'll keep you posted. If you know something else that we're missing, certainly let us know. Missouri's governor says direct care and frontline state employees often earn less money than entry-level retail positions. Governor Mike Parson will unveil a $91 million supplemental budget request next week. It's aimed at giving state employees a 5.5% cost of living adjustment.
The state employees, they're doing a good job. We want to make sure we give them a comfortable wage. We got some makeup to do, and, we compete with the private sector every day for jobs.
Governor spoke to me about his proposed budget. Under the governor's budget that was approved by lawmakers last May, state employees will receive a 2% COLA increase on January 1st. That's Saturday. And under the governor's plan, they'd receive a 5.5% increase in February on top of that for a total of 7.5%. The lawmakers will have about a month to act. I break it down in more detail, 939theeagle.com. Missouri State troopers say their investigation into the deadly collision that killed Assistant Chief Gladney is continuing this morning. Highway Patrol Lieutenant Eben Brown tells 93.9 The Eagle it is a long and detailed process. The patrol's crash report says an ambulance and Chief Gladney's vehicles had their emergency lights activated when they were struck by the tractor trailer last Wednesday morning on I-70 near Columbia. The funeral service for Assistant Chief Gladney starts at 11 o'clock this morning. Hearn Center in Columbia. You are encouraged to stand along the funeral procession route for the fallen assistant chief. Again, the funeral procession will be starting after the service. Very important, after the service. So the funeral's at 11, sometime during the noon hour, probably earlier in the noon hour. Don't have an exact time as when that procession will start. They'll leave the Hearn Center onto westbound Stadium, then turn right onto Providence, then left onto westbound Business Loop 70 to Memorial Funeral Home. A private family service will take place there as well. In-state troopers say 8 Missourians were killed during the Christmas holiday counting period. It began Thursday evening, ending late Sunday night. Troopers say a 32-year-old Zach Sutton of DeSoto crossed the center line on Highway 28 in Osage County, east of Jefferson City. He hit a pickup truck head-on. Sutton pronounced dead at the scene. Pickup driver suffering moderate injuries. Also, a Camdenton man killed in an ATV accident. The 57-year-old victim pronounced dead later at University Hospital here in Columbia, where he had been transported by helicopter. 93.9 The Eagle News Time, 8:35. 93.9 The Eagle Sports is brought to you this hour by the folks at Betts Jewelers in downtown Columbia. Mizzou men's basketball coach Konzo Martin testing positive for COVID. Coach making the announcement on Twitter on Monday says he is feeling well. He also says he is very thankful to the training staff for following protocol and keeping the team healthy. Assistant coach Cornell Mann will be the acting head coach for tomorrow night's game. Kentucky is the opponent in Lexington. Always hard to play there. Loud. And usually we see a lot of NBA prospects on Kentucky. They come into this game ranked, the Wildcats, at number 17 in the land. And also, quick mention, the Great 8 Classic used to be called the Mike Kehoe Great 8 Classic a number of years ago. Fleming Field out some great basketball over the years. Father Tolt plays Rogers, Arkansas at 4 today. Consolation semifinal. Semifinal game 5:30. Helias, Blair Oaks. JC and Union, Oklahoma in the semifinal at 7. In Capital City, Covington, Tennessee, the consolation semifinal. That game tips off tonight, 8:30 at the Fleming Fieldhouse. Our news time, 8:36.
Eagle Eye Traffic.
And our traffic check is brought to you by MidmoHires.com. Local companies are looking for local people. MidmoHires.com. We've got a wreck right now over in Callaway County, not far from the Missouri River Bridge near Summit Lake Winery. That is according to authorities. Callaway County has an ambulance on the scene. Don't believe there's any serious injuries to report, but be prepared for that. Also, there may still be some backup. A number of you have called into the radio station and to dispatchers about that wreck on the Missouri River Bridge. JCPD still on scene. The good news here, no injuries, but traffic has been backed up because of that. No serious injuries, but again, traffic backing up due to the wreck on the Missouri River Bridge. Please slow down in the rain. We're seeing and hearing a number of accidents. A lot of these are weather-related for sure. Well, another update for you coming your way at 9:03. We have breaking news immediately. I'm Brian Hauswirth, 93.9 The Eagle.
Instead of the virus being able to hop from person to person to person, potentially mutating and becoming more virulent and drug resistant along the way, now we know that the vaccines work well enough that the virus stops with every vaccinated person. A vaccinated person gets exposed to the virus does not infect them. The virus cannot then use that person to go anywhere else.
Wrong.
It cannot use a vaccinated person as a host to go get more people. That means the vaccines will get us to the end of this.
Wrong.
30 seconds, 4 fact checks. Boom, 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 wrong. And that's why people are saying vaccine, anybody who does not want to get the vaccine, they have improperly labeled as vaccine hesitant. Listen, this stuff has been out on the market for a year, and we keep changing. We'll get the vaccine, and it'll be fine. It'll stop the thing from jumping from one body to another. We know that is absolutely, positively, without a doubt. It is not true. We saw there's a Navy ship. Everybody on the ship's vaccinated. A large portion of the ship, they got the thing. But you told us it would, well, we're learning this stuff as we go along. Well, let's do this then. Instead of making me put this into my body, when y'all have it figured out, then let's do it. Then let's give it a shot. Let's give it a little bit more time than a year before you start making people put, and this is the disconnect. This is what those the people in leadership, they don't understand. Yeah, that's why we're hesitant. It's not out for a year, and you told us it's going to do all these great things, and we know now none of that stuff was accurate. We'll even give you the benefit of the doubt. Sure, it's a new evolving thing. We said the vax were going to work, and we said, well, maybe a booster and now 2, and it would stop the virus. You can't train. All that stuff that we told you to sell you the booster, all of that stuff, wrong. So you understand, right? When we have our doubts about taking something that you predicted all of these things that would happen. It's not happening. Hence the hesitancy. It's not that difficult. I'm just a Joe Schmo in mid-Missouri. Come on, man. I can't believe it. I sound like the smartest guy in the room sometimes. Quit laughing. Hauswirth. Welcome into the show. There's Brian Hauswirth.
It's great to see you, my friend.
Good to see you. I missed you guys over the past few days. There's Stephanie Pell.
Good morning.
Hannah, the producer, has the day off. A couple of traffic issues we're watching for you right now.
Yeah, we appreciate all the calls to Branden and to Stephanie on this. And sometimes the locations aren't exact because when you call in or text in, you're behind the wreck. So we understand that. So based on the information from Lieutenant Williams right now, Branden, we've got a wreck. If it's not been cleared yet, it'll be close to being cleared on the Missouri River Bridge in Jefferson City. Non-injury accident certainly has been causing some backup. Had a couple other people call in about a wreck near a sod farm in Callaway County. We're not aware, and we've checked with authorities on that. Not aware of that. Maybe that's a backup from another one. But the one also that is causing some other issues is near the Summit Lake Winery. I call it it may have a different. Stephanie, is that still called Summit Lake Winery, or is it Canterbury? I believe
Canterbury. That's right.
I still say Summit Lake, but right there at the top of the hill, Summit Lake Canterbury Winery, if you will. There's a wreck there, and be prepared for that. But again, a lot of these are weather related. Just slow down, and none of them apparently involve serious injuries.
By the way, and I want to cover this again real quick from listener Jack. He's wondering how long this procession is going to be for Bryant Gladney today. We don't know. Service starts at 11 at Hearns. I don't know, maybe an hour, and then everybody trying to get out of Hearns. They're going to pull out. Quick left onto Stadium, immediate right onto Providence. So I don't know. By the time they get out of Hearns, I don't know. But Jack said, and here's what Jack says, and this is part I want to make sure I mention. He says, I want to pay my respects. He says, but I want to be careful and not get in the way.
Sure.
So best answer I can give you, Jack, is we don't know. We're just kind of guessing here.
We don't know, and I would say no earlier than noon, and don't hold me to that in case, they have a number of people who are going to be speaking as well. You've got a lot of firefighters from all over the state that will be there, some from other states, and it's going to be a lot of people. But if you're out on location trying to line up for the procession by noon, you should be okay. Hopefully the weather will cooperate too.
Yeah, rain hopefully should be done later in the afternoon, maybe sometime after afternoon. Something we can do for you, 874-9390. A lot of the national news outlets had a conniption fit over the weekend.
I think it is fundamentally about insurrection.
Say it's on the verge of an insurrection. That's on CNN. And they're not even talking about the events of January the 6th. Before I move forward, remind me to come back to this, Stephanie. Has anybody seen Tucker Carlson's Patriot Purge? I know he's been, I guess, controversial. Fox stands by his work in this documentary he has done on Fox News Nation, which you can get on the streaming Fox app, which my dad has. Because if my dad doesn't have that on the TV, what else is he going to stand around and smoke cigarettes and complain about all day? He's got to have the Fox Nation. So he's watched this Patriot Purge, so I watched it over the weekend, and he details events leading up to January the 6th. I'll say this, don't be mad at me, but I've just got to tell you, this is my takeaway. First of all, there's pretty interesting stuff in there. Some things that reasonably, and I'm not talking conspiracy theory way out there, what if, but there's some things. As a matter of fact, I emailed myself some names and things like that of people in this story. I'm like, they have some very interesting things to say. And the argument, I think, he's not saying this is what happened. I think and that's where the controversy comes in. People think he's putting this out there as a matter of fact. Not my takeaway. My takeaway is Tucker has a collection of people and thoughts and ideas, and he packages it and then presents it. Says, here's what I think. And kind of one of his thoughts is that this was, in effect, an inside job and can paint can paint a compelling picture as to how he might think that's an inside job. I don't buy that whole thing. This was an inside job. I also don't buy that this was a planned insurrection on the part of anybody. It was a bunch of people, and the moment got caught up with them. There was nobody rallying, saying we're going to do this. This is what's going to happen. I don't see that. There's some crap in there. There's some really good stuff in there. There's some exaggerations, I think, but it's good. It's worth watching and seeing a different idea about what's being proposed. And I'll tell you, one of the big things that really caught my attention, one of the biggest instigators, because there is so much footage, and Tucker Carlson neatly takes all this footage and he puts it together, but there's so much footage from hundreds of different cell phones that were there that day, and he highlights a lot of footage that, like, we haven't been able to see on TV. And that's the part you start to see another point of view about what has happened. But the thing that really caught my attention, this guy, one of the main instigators, this kid from Salt Lake, he is Antifa BLM in Salt Lake City. This guy is the guy you want somebody to have, like, the KKK stand in front of your campaign bus days before a gubernatorial election, like happened to Youngkin. This is the guy in Salt Lake. He was one of the main instigators, and I already knew that in my research. I had known that going into this. So I was really excited to see that Tucker Carlson covered this in his Patriot Purge special, about this guy from Salt Lake that's really egging people on. And he talks about how, people busted into the Capitol. A lot of the accounts shows, according to video in this special, the doors were just held open in a lot of situations. I don't know if it was to make things easier. People saying, like, listen, we're getting deluged with people. There's nothing that we could do here. Let's just hold the doors open. Anyhow, pretty interesting. So what was it that had the folks on CNN?
I think it is fundamentally about insurrection.
Now what do they think is an insurrection? A few crazies getting together in D.C. and want to go do some stupid stuff? That's an insurrection. I disagree with that. But now there is a new insurrection. What do they think that was? That's coming up at 8:51 on 93.9 The Eagle and 93.9theeagle.com. You can listen live. You can also watch on our YouTube channel. Just go to 93.9 The Eagle Live. Hey, what's up? I'm Branden Rathert for Pro Pumping and Hydro Jetting. They're adding to the family. We've got some great office help, looking for some more techs out on the road. They'll even train you to do this stuff. And that's what I love about this. This isn't a job like, hey, I'm going to go and get this job and I'm going to make X amount of dollars for an hour and then I'm going to work here for a year and then I'm going to go go on to the next thing. That's not what this is at Pro Pumping and Hydro Jetting. This is an opportunity for you to learn a very valuable skill. This is an opportunity for you to help people throughout all of mid-Missouri. This is an opportunity for you then to get paid to do that stuff, get paid to maybe learn how to do something new and to help people. I love it. That's what they're doing at Pro Pumping and Hydro Jetting. Learn more about this job opening. Log on to Pro Pumping and Hydro Jetting. Go to the website, pro-pumping.com.
You're listening to Wake Up Columbia with Branden Rathert on 93.9 The Eagle.
I want to thank the governors for the partnership, and I mean that sincerely. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to Jeff, and I understand you guys may have some questions.
I think we're going to clear the press first.
I'm going to take some questions. But first, let's get the press out of here. This stuff is real, man. Happened yesterday. Conference call with governors. Biden's in there. He's talking to him. He says, okay, we're going to take some calls now. One of his assistants, because he knows it's dangerous putting Biden on live TV. It's dangerous putting him in a situation where he's got to field live questions out on the battlefield. No, we're gonna clear the room.
And this whole thing about, governors and everything else, I guess Biden came out and basically said, hey, there's no federal solution to COVID. We have to rely on the state governors, which is a complete 180 from his whole campaign, from what he's been saying all along.
You've been a big fan of what Ron DeSantis has been doing, right? And how his state has been handling his business. So you've been a big fan of that, huh?
And his whole thing was, Trump's doing COVID wrong. I'll get in the White House. I'll solve COVID. And now that he realizes, that's a little bit harder than just making campaign promises. And now that he realizes his advisors, I think, have been steering him wrong, and that, COVID is an endemic and not a pandemic, he's saying, you know what? Yeah, this isn't really a federal issue. Let's let the states handle it.
National news outlets. Conniption fit over the weekend.
I think it is fundamentally about insurrection.
Insurrection, what is it that now they think is an insurrection? That's that new word they like, insurrection, which, by the way, that is not what happened on January the 6th. I don't care what your coworkers and your friends at happy hour tell you, not an insurrection. So what is it that's got the national news outlets all jacked up over the weekend? It was this: Joe Biden and his wife Jill taking phone calls from kids and parents as they're tracking Santa traveling across the world while delivering Christmas presents to our kids and grandkids.
I hope you have a wonderful Christmas.
Well, yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas as well. Merry Christmas, and let's go, Branden.
Let's go, Branden. I agree.
And that's what the news outlets freaked out, calling that an insurrection.
Yeah, look, it's ungracious, it's juvenile, it's reprehensible by the father. But I don't think it's fundamentally about incivility. I think it is fundamentally about insurrection.
Insurrection.
See, I could come here and tell you every day the national news outlets, they lie to you and they exaggerate. Or I could they prove the case for me. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, this is easy work for an attorney, Steph.
Yeah, I mean, in their minds, if you say let's go, Branden, then you're a Trump supporter, and if you're a Trump supporter, you're an insurrectionist, right? Essentially is how they equate it. And we're all in this giant same bucket. We wear flannel, we have no teeth, we're uneducated, we're in flyover country. I mean, we're all deplorables. They have lots of names for us, and but we'll see what happens next year. We'll see what happens in November.
As a matter of fact, if you were to get onto our YouTube channel and watch the show, 93.9 The Eagle Live, put it up on your smart TV and watch, listen, all the news, everything that's happening. You'll see today I'm wearing a coonskin hat, and I've got red and blue body paint everywhere because that's, as a Trump supporter, that's how I dress all the time.
Again, for them, I mean, they want us to be China. They want to be in control, and they want no one to disagree with the all-powerful government. And so if you're saying let's go, Branden, which just means I am frustrated and I disagree with the current state of what is happening, then you are an insurrectionist because you are unwilling to be controlled and you are willing to stand up against the current status quo.
I think it is fundamentally about insurrection.
The phrase "let's go, Branden" is about insurrection. You talk about words like triggered and safe space. That's the kind of stuff that comes to mind. So delicate, no gumption, no fortitude for anything. Getting excited. Gary Nolan's show is coming up just minutes from now here on 93.9 The Eagle.
Yeah. Have you seen this latest TV news? We haven't been covering it. I know we've got a lot of leftovers, but we've got The Bachelor is going to be from Columbia, and that's starting up soon. And then Ryan Ferguson is going to be on, The Amazing Race?
He's going to be on the Amazing Race. Of course, a lot of us know the story of Ryan Ferguson. Served nearly 10 years in prison after he was convicted in the murder of then Tribune sports editor Kent Heitholt, which occurred, it was 2020 years ago. And know the whole story. Went to prison, eventually got out. So now he is going to be on the Amazing Race, and another one is going to be on the Bachelor. Another dude from
Clayton Eckerd, who used to be, or he was a Mizzou football player.
Football player, yeah.
So he was on The Bachelorette, but I don't think made it very long. But I think it'll be interesting. I always like to see how the reality TV shows, again, portray people from like the Midwest. Is every picture of Clayton going to be either on the football field or him like on a farm? I don't know.
The other thing that was interesting over the weekend, I don't know if folks remember, longtime anchor at ABC 17 in the evenings, and I think she eventually moved to mornings, Ashley Strohmeyer. Of course, she went to Fox News several years ago. She's working in New York City. Saw her over the weekend anchoring some newscasts. So cool to see that Ashley Strohmeyer is doing well.
Yeah.
So coming up, Gary Nolan Show. Of course, we'll have the podcast of today's show posted. I'd like to tell you it'd be up by 9 o'clock, but Hannah, the producer, is not here today, so it might be a while. But we'll get it up for you. We'll get it posted on the Wake Up Columbia podcast on our website, 939theeagle.com. That way you can listen to Wake Up Columbia anytime, all the time at our website, 939theeagle.com. See ya.
Bye.